Black Alpha Network. Power to the people.
Peace, 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 family. Oh, I got Dewan B, Just Even, Cool Keys in here. Salute to both of y'all, all three of y'all. Fam, y'all know, hey, we about to get it today. We about to definitely get it. I'm just going to say right now, tether, fleer. We just going to go ahead and put that on the line because I've been seeing some real disturbing stuff with these folks trying to remix our culture and Africanize us. So I got a real problem with that right now. So we're going to definitely going to have to do some regulating and, you know, probably run a couple tethers off the block because I know they be listening in the burner or whatnot. So definitely want to chop that on up. I want everybody to know it's Juneteenth, not Coonteenth. We're going to definitely let everybody know that. It's about Black American history, culture, tradition. It ain't about nobody from the diaspora. I ain't talking about nobody from Haiti, Jamaica, or Africa, none of them. Get your own shit. Quit worrying about ours. You feel me? So when we see this right here, I want to tell everybody how it's all tied in. If somebody can get in on Juneteenth, they can get in on our lineage. You get in on our lineage, then you get in on our reparations. That's what it's all about. Everybody's trying to get in on what we're doing, and they know goddamn well this is different. Everybody has to also remember, the dominant society has never embraced the RBG flag. The RBG flag was seen as something that was radical, and they would always try to, you know, push that off to the side. All of a sudden, when we start representing that red, white, and blue, now they trying to hit us with the RBG flag. You seeing it everywhere. You get on Google, you get on Yahoo, all these goddamn ads and these fake ass models, they all wearing it. We got to let folks know that we do not represent that, which we are, but we just got to go ahead and keep pushing that line because you're not going to put no African jacket on me. I don't wear it. I wear a double XL, not an extra medium. So they can go ahead and take that shit back to the motherland, the homeland, and all of that. We're going to represent right here where we are. So anybody who wants to come up, let's go ahead and talk. But this is how we got to go ahead and do it in terms of regulating and G-checking and letting folks know this is not about tethers. It's not about tethers. A tether, they like them dogs. If anybody got a dog and your dog does something wrong and you yell at them, they'll do a circle and then they'll just come back around to you. That's what they do. So we'll G-check these tethers and run them off the block, and they'll just do a whole goddamn circle, a triangle, a goddamn rectangle, and then they'll come right back to us, and then they'll try to run the same game over and over and over. How many times are we here? We tell them that Juneteenth is just about foundational Black Americans. We got to tell them that reparations is about foundational Black Americans. Y'all notice we don't never have to tell them that an anti-Black hate crime law is about Black Americans because they don't speak on that. They only speak on things of our culture that they can get in on. So if it comes to something that can put some money in their pocket, then all of a sudden they want to tether. They don't ever tether to any policy that we create. They don't ever tether to anything that's tangible. It's only things that they can benefit from. And y'all know if somebody's trying to benefit off your culture, but they ain't never did a damn thing to assist your culture, that is by definition a tether. So as I said, it's tether, fleer, fleeman. And what we say all the time on the Black Alpha Network, if the fleas fit, wear them. And they continuously wear them. Afro, can you hear me, my brother?
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you, family. Okay. I got you, bro.
Yeah, the space was tweaking a little bit because it was saying I was on request. Like instead of the mute on and off, it was saying I was on request. But yeah, as long as it can be heard now, you know, it's cool now.
All right, I got you, brother. I was just in here, you know what I'm saying, kicking up dust with a couple tethers, man, and letting everybody know that, you know, this is all about our culture and they can go ahead and try to latch on, hold on, blend into or whatever, but it's just not going to work. How you feel, brother, about Juneteenth, reparations, everything about our lineage that's ours and everybody trying to get in on it? How do you feel about all of that, my brother?
First off, shout out to you for the space. It was a good idea to make this space before Juneteenth because we're seeing a lot of this. We're seeing a lot of people trying to take our culture. We're seeing a lot of people trying to crowbar themselves and piggyback off of what we have going on because when we have a holiday, that holiday gets blown up. Anything that we put our fingers on, it turns to gold. Our touch turns everything to gold. When we bag up from a holiday, then that holiday starts to fall off. Then nobody wants to celebrate it. Just like Christopher Columbus Day. Despite the fact that we were never really on Christopher Columbus, but when we made it a bad thing to celebrate, when we really started doing that, that's when they started taking the statues and stuff like that down. So we really control what holidays are good holidays and what holidays are bad holidays. Now, they have their holidays. They all do. All of the Nigerians, the Haitians, Jamaicans, and whatever else from the diaspora, they have their holidays, and that's good for them, and that's cool. Nobody's hating on that. You know, we don't try to be all like, hey, well, this Nigerian Independence Day is technically all of our independence. We don't do that. That's cool. You Puerto Rican holiday, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But their stuff just don't hit the same our stuff does. They got the great value brand of holidays. We got the real stuff that everybody wants to actually celebrate. They got the holidays like, hey, guess what day it is? It's a holiday. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. We got the holidays that people plan trips for. We got the holidays that people plan events around and stuff around, and people sell merchandise around. They don't really have that. So, of course, they want to get on what we got on. Of course they want to.
Hey, brother, so you saying we're a summer blockbuster and they going straight to DVD? They don't even have a premiere date, brother. They going straight to anybody who remember Blockbuster, they going straight to VHS, straight up and down. That's how they are. Nat Turner, go ahead, family.
Yeah, I'm noticing the same situation. I mean, you can't even buy like Juneteenth memorabilia. You go on there online and everything is red, black, and green, and red, yellow, and whatever colors, and the real colors is red, white, and blue with the star. You can't even find hats and things. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. I'm just like, I'm fed up with it. I feel the same way. I don't want to hold you up. That's all I wanted to say. They need to start getting our memorabilia right. This is all wrong. And that's all.
Hey, big facts, brother. You know what gets me, though? The thing that gets me is that when has America ever downplayed red, white, and blue? Go look at these MAGA rallies, right? It's red, white, and blue all day long. The only time that you'll ever see anybody from the dominant society dismiss red, white, and blue is when foundational Black Americans represent it. Soon as we start raising that American flag or that FBA flag or that Juneteenth flag, all of a sudden they start raising the RBG flag. Come on. It's no different than when Nancy Pelosi and them was putting on dashikis and stuff. Anytime you start seeing a white person embracing African culture, they're only doing that to Africanize our culture. It's one big hustle. It's one big con game, and we all see it. I don't want to see no Karen running around here with a damn dashiki on. I don't want to see no Karen running around here waving the RBG flag, because when I see it, I already know what it's about. It's trying to hustle us and con us so we can drop them red, white, and blues and lift up they shit. But it ain't gonna work. Brother Dewan B on the floor. Go ahead, family.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I noticed that when I was in Canva designing some stuff, because I got some Black History, some Juneteenth Day flag baseball cap dropping on my website tomorrow. And I was going through designing some stuff, and everything in Canva was the RBG, and so I had to go ahead and figure it out myself. You know what I mean? And it's all over the place, and you see it. And so, like, it's like when they try to Africanize us and everything, like you said, now they want to have everybody be a part of Juneteenth. Now this is now some sort of a multicultural affair. And I give it another year or two before Juneteenth becomes sissified all the way. Anything that's going to be an official Juneteenth. I noticed that last year the Hollywood Bowl had a Juneteenth Day festival. And it was on CNN. And I was there, and of course they had to have I think it was Big Frida, one of those. No, Billy Porter sang, and I made sure. Okay, now it's time to go to the smoke section. I'm trying to go smoke this blunt, and I think the smoke section was more crowded than the Hollywood Bowl when he came up, because everybody knew what was going on. Like, come on now, we got these real ass artists performing over here, and you bring this motherfucker out. I'm like, man, next up is Anita Baker, and you put this motherfucker ahead of. In between somebody like Anita Baker and Babyface, and then Earth and Fire, then it's obvious agenda, and and we see it, so we know that's probably going to come. So let's all get ready for that. Them trying to bussify Juneteenth. That's about to get real heavy. Probably not this year, but next year. And we got to know that this is ours. This isn't theirs. It's just like when they try to Africanize our music, Africanize everything that we do. Look, man, our culture is very not musty, and it's no disrespect at all. We use lotion and deodorant, so it's a different groove in the field of what we got going on, and we got to make sure that we be proud and loud of that, and we got to make sure we stand up against, and we have to be unapologetic about it, because we're so goddamn nice as a people. You know what I mean? We got to really be unapologetic about it. Like you said, Afro earlier, I think Afro said it or Black said it. the dog analogy. How sometimes you need a newspaper real quick to smack them across the nose with the newspaper. It ain't gonna hurt them. It's just gonna make them walk around. They'll settle down. This is the first time they've ever seen this kind of treatment from us because our parents and everybody else's generation just didn't say nothing. And now, this is us talking back is new, but we're not dealing with fighters. We're not dealing with people willing to stand their ground. We just got to make sure that we keep standing ours, and we'll be good.
Go ahead, Brother Afro.
Sorry, the space is delayed a little bit, but I fully agree. I fully agree with that. I fully agree because of the fact that the colors, and we have to understand the colors are very important. I'm glad that you guys brought that up because they've never embraced the red, black, and green flag. They've never embraced that. Okay. They've never embraced any flag or anything like that. And this isn't about them. This isn't about them. This is about us. And we do need to be proud of that. And that's why they're going to eventually have to change it. Because if enough of us consistently enough say, that's not our colors for the flag. Those are the wrong, like they would never do that to the 4th of July. They would never make the 4th of July colors the colors of Ukraine. No matter how much they claim they want to support Ukraine, they would never turn the 4th of July colors to blue and yellow. They would never do that because that would piss way too many people off because flags, colors, all of these symbols are very important to somebody's culture. So it's important that we get it right because Juneteenth was not a Pan-African event. Juneteenth was an event that happened specifically and only to us. So we're not going to play this game where we're going to use the universally black colors for that. So I'm very glad that we're doing that. And if we keep doing that, then they're going to have to change it.
Hey, real quick, Black Alpha, there's one point Afro just hit on that I forgot to make, and I'm going to get up right out of the way. The red, white, and blue had significance. You know what I mean? That's people who are into astrology, it's not whether you're into it or not, doesn't make a difference because that's where those colors come from. When our star Sirius rises in the east, it shines red, white, blue, and our DC. A lot of what we have is structured towards that particular star. So the star itself has an astrological meaning that was around long before these white folks discovered it. And so when they design cities, when they create colors or flags or whatever, all of that stuff has an astrological connection. And they leave it amongst the poors and the regular people to argue whether or not they believe that stuff or not. But the people who design these governments and organizations and these countries and cities, they understand this very well. And so you got to understand the red, white, and blue has a very much, much, much deeper significance. And if you want to understand more about the significance, just listen to Parliament Funkadelic. Just listen to P-Funk. He's talking, just listen to Mothership Connection. That song right there is talking about the Sirius, and Sirius is the red, white, and blue. So the connection to the red, white, and blue is a lot deeper than just some color, some cracker chose. It's a science and a methodology behind it that predates the cracker by I don't know how many millions of years. But go ahead.
Hey, bro, that's deep. You know what? I didn't know that until actually you had said that before on the space to me, brother. That was the first time I had ever really put that all together. And see, that's what people got to understand. Bro, that's deep, fam. That's deep as hell. Go ahead, brother.
Serious Dogon philosophy. Like this, there are a lot of people who believe in it, whether it's, well, I'll take it back. It's not about belief. It's about passing down of knowledge from civilization to civilization over tens of thousands of millennia. And everything has an astrological connection, whether we understand it or not. Every city, everything that's pointing towards, and so every flag in the modern world or in the world period, there's a color that's associated with something deeper than what we understand. And so when they try to take us off the red, white, and blue, they're taking us off of our original story and why we chose those colors and why we have such a deep understanding and connection to Sirius 4 light years away in the east.
See, that's the thing nobody really ever puts together is that when it comes to this landmass, we are so interconnected, as our brother was just saying, and they're trying to remove us completely all across the board. So yeah, people see these tethers trying to get in on Juneteenth and they think it's sweet, they think it's cute, but it ain't sweet. At the end of the day, as I said earlier, when somebody can get in on Juneteenth, next thing you know, they're going to get in on your lineage. Next thing you know, they're going to be taking your reparations money home. It's all about reparations. It ties all the way into it. These folks don't want to get in on Juneteenth just because. They don't want to do it just because they like the date. Half these folks didn't know nothing about Juneteenth a year ago. A lot of them don't know about it now. But I guarantee you, if you tell them you can get in on Juneteenth and that can let you slide your weasel ass over to our reparations claim, they're going to say, sign me up. All of these groups in America that come here, they're all in the classroom with their hands raised in the dominant society saying, which one of y'all want to replace black folks? And they're all willing participants. I don't give a damn where they're from. You could be from anywhere in the diaspora. You could be from South America. You could be far out west. Everybody wants to come here and replace foundational black American culture. That's what they want to do. And eventually, that's the game plan that the dominant society wants to see forth. And all of us right here in the Black Grassroots, we basically the last line to stop all of that from happening. So you got to start G-checking people when it comes to Juneteenth. And as our brother Dewan just said, it's a deep-seated tradition root that we have here. We got a connection above everybody. We can't be deported. We ain't no immigrant group. What they gonna do with that? So this is why they fly everybody in. They put them on first class goddamn plane seats so they can come here and try to be foundational black Americans. But that's gonna be a hard time because foundational black Americans cannot be replaced. Hey, brother, Great Black Shark, go ahead, fam.
Salute to your brother Black Alpha Network. Salute to Afro Elite, Dewan B, and everybody else in the space. Can you hear me okay, brother? Got you real good, brother. Certified salute. I'm going to be very brief, brother. Excellent space. This is the right timing for it because, see, we have to start looking at our culture as if it's our own personal house. And when someone comes into your house as a guest, they have to follow your rules. So today, what they're seeing is a brand new energy from those of us who are foundational black Americans. And we have to extend this beyond Juneteenth to the entirety of our culture. Because, see, we all know our ancestors sacrificed for these people to be able to come over here. And see, now they've grown to become entitled and they think they can call hands in somebody else's house. That time is over with. Anybody that gets offended by it, so bad, that's too bad for them. So we're not going to play that game either anymore. And we have to start having the energy amongst those of us who are on code, young and old alike, saying no. If we from the lineage, foundational black Americans, did not co-sign or say this is certified, I don't care whether it's Juneteenth, hip hop, anything, you're not a part of it. You don't get to come in when you're not of anybody's lineage and culture and tell them what it's supposed to be or let them define it for us. And I'm going to land with this. I want everybody listening to the sound of my voice to adopt that mindset and become accustomed to telling these people, you do not define who we are as a people. You haven't bled for it. You haven't sweat for it. You damn sure don't have the right to do it if you ran away from your country and have no intention of going back home and you're not building anything for the people back home when you get here. So that's all I wanted to say. Salute to you, black man. Keep it up. This is the right energy to have. With that, I'll land my plane.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, I like what you said right there. Don't people get real triggered when we say no? They can't stand when we tell them no. That's the one thing that will piss off every group on the planet Earth. When a foundational black American tells somebody N-O, you see a complete different change in energy. And I like exactly how you said that, brother. As long as we stay 10 toes down, loyal to the soil, they get mad as hell. They don't have a problem talking crazy. They got a problem when we tell them we ain't going to allow it. And that's what my brother was saying right there. We got to disallow folks from coming at it sideways and crazy. Afro, I know there's a little delay with you, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I got you.
All right, brother. Let me ask you a question, family. Have you ever seen a foundational black American go anywhere on the planet and then try to dictate to somebody else what their culture is? I already know the answer, but I want to hear it from you, fam.
Oh, brother. Foundational black Americans do the exact opposite of that. We are nothing but respectful to other people's cultures. We come there, we try to assimilate as respect. We don't try to assimilate and appropriate because there's a difference between assimilating and appropriating. We don't try to appropriate. We understand that we're not of that culture. We understand that we have a different culture, a different history and lineage. But we come there respectfully. We learn their language. We eat their food. We dress the same and everything. And we don't get accepted, no matter how much respect we put on the place. What's that one rapper named Kendrick Lamar? He went over someplace trying to film a video, and they was upset about that. There was another black artist who went over there respectfully, just putting respect. I feel like I'm home. I feel like these my people, and they can't stand that. So not only do we not assimilate, not appropriate, or try to damn near try to dictate what they can and can't do, what they should or shouldn't be doing. Brother, you just got me started, because they come over here and the first thing they want to do is try to tell us about ourselves. Well, the reason why y'all not doing good is because y'all don't teach respect in the home like we teach respect in the home. The reason why y'all not doing good is because this and this and this. They come here and they try to tell us about ourselves. We don't go anywhere trying to tell people about why they not doing good, tell people about how they need to be more like us. We don't do that at all. We're the number one people who are respectful and helpful to other people in their culture.
Somebody help me out. Wasn't there a situation about a year or so ago, probably about 2 years ago, where Michael B. Jordan and people in the diaspora was tripping on him over a drink or something like that?
Juve.
Yeah.
He had a drink called Juve, and they were saying this. Nicki Minaj came out and said that Michael B. Jordan is appropriating their culture while she's rapping in a 4/4 time at over a drum set that we created in a time form on the one that we did in a format that we created in the country that she lives in, that's ours, with her rapist ass brother and husband. And she talked about Michael B. Jordan appropriating our culture, their culture. See, that's the thing about it. I think this is my opinion of Black Alpha, and I don't believe in imposing my point of view on anybody else. I just offer what I have to say, and people can either take it or leave it. That's where I come from, the point of view I come from. But my point of view is part of the reason why we are so screwed up as a people is because we don't honor ourselves enough. You know, you got to thank yourself. You got to honor yourself. You got to love yourself first. Okay. They don't tell you. They don't ever tell Shabba Ranks and his musty sounding ass music that's African. They don't tell Carlos Santana none of that shit. Everybody gets the respect of. They don't tell them river dancers over there in Scotland and that weird ass shit that the Europeans be doing is African. Everybody gets to be who they are until it comes to us. You know what I mean? And we don't. And for us, part of the reason I think that's been allowed is because we be so quick to go back to Africa when we got grandmama. Like our grandmama was the one that held us when we had a fever and we couldn't go to school. Mama had to work. How you gonna skip past grandmama and the blues culture that grandmama and granddaddy gave to us to go back to Africa? Man, that talk about some damn ancestors. That's disrespectful as fuck. How we as a people gonna just let folks come over here and like our great grandparents fought for this shit, and in the middle of fighting for that shit, they gave us the goddamn soul music and jazz, and we going around saying like there's no honor. That's like that. If we just look at that from just a cold point of view, that's not really honorable. You know what I mean? Your parents give you something, and you just be like, "Here, you have it," and I don't cherish it. Oh, a salute to Mother Africa. Like Mother Africa didn't give a fuck about you. They didn't come and help in the Civil War. Mother Africa, when Woodrow Wilson desegregated the government, because black people were still working in government in the 1910s. I mean, it wasn't until Woodrow Wilson came in 1916 and desegregated the government. It wasn't no goddamn Congo drum playing ass nation coming over as diplomats. Like, we know y'all ain't got the weaponry, but what about y'all diplomats? Where y'all diplomats now? Like, y'all got diplomats. Where y'all diplomats when George Floyd got choked out? Where are these diaspora diplomats when they see what's going on in Black America today and the poverty and the UN coming out saying that we need reparations? What are the diplomats from the Caribbean to come and speak for us? Like, they don't do shit. And these are things that we got to think about, man, when it comes to this. It's not about, hating them. Really, it's about, nigga, I got to honor my ancestors. I got to honor grandmama. You know what I mean? And that's what I got to do. And I think as we honor grandmama, we'll get more honor bestowed back upon us, because nobody respects a group of people that don't respect themselves. And you can't respect yourself without properly respecting your immediate ancestors.
Oh, 100% true, brother. 100% true. Go ahead, Great Black Shark.
You know, I want to add to what Brother Dewan B just said there, because that's very important, and I agree with that 100%. We really do need to start honoring who we are as a people, not only just our ancestors, but in our immediate family ties. Start looking back and see what your immediate families have accomplished, because, see, when you know where you come from, you fight for who you are as a people, and you have more pride and respect for who you are. And I'm going to throw a theory out here about the tether class. And the reason why a lot of them tend to think they can dictate terms to us, you got to think about it. The most dangerous thing in the world isn't the gang member that's already established. The most dangerous one is the one that wants to prove themselves to get in the gang. So I think they've adopted this paternalistic white supremacist mindset towards when it comes to foundational Black Americans. Like, oh, you just tell them whatever you can and call hands just like the white supremacists do. Like I said before, though, we got to shut that down. And I hope that everybody going forward adopts that mindset, because, see, this is brand new for them and they don't like that. And see, here's the other thing, too. I got to say this. It's going to offend some people. If you think I'm talking about you, then I am. We respect our brothers and sisters in the global Black diaspora that show respect to us. However, when you come over here and you hadn't brought anything to the cookout, so to speak, everybody knows if you throw a family reunion or whatever, everybody want to put something on their plate, but they didn't bring anything to the table or help prepare the meal or whatsoever. You need to sit down and be humble. Like I said before, I don't even consider those that are the males from that country. I ain't going to call them men, because if you take off and leave the women and children behind and then you don't have a strategy to go back home and fix things, how dare you come over here and tell any foundational Black American, male, female, or even child for that matter, on our homeland what we should be doing, when you too much of a punk to go back and check the corrupt politicians and then pull the plug on that white supremacist puppet strategy that they have going on over there by getting on code with all of your people. Case in point, going to use this as an example. You take the history of Haiti and Zimbabwe, two similar situations. They overthrew their oppressors, okay, and got back control of their country. To this day, they've been extorted, had sanctions on them. So you would be thinking that they would try to link up with other people with similar situations and get on code on the continent and across the Caribbean and any other place in that Black diaspora and support things like us when we try to have our reparations movement going on. Because, see, if we're successful, there's the blueprint for how they can do that. But, see, when you're not on code and then you're too much of a coward to actually face what the real threat is, ain't no white supremacy, and then come over here telling us what we do wrong and we just need to work hard. I'm like, okay, if working hard and you so much smarter than us is the answer, you will have solutions for the things back home. I know I just pissed a lot of people off. I'm going to leave it alone, family. I got to get back to some work here in the office, but hey, this is the right energy. Keep going, doing what you're doing, man. Salute.
Much respect. Hey, brother, keep pissing them off, man. The more mad they are, the better things are going. Good job, brother, all day. Hey, I got to piggyback off what our brother just said. You know, when you start talking about these people who come over here, they're all in it to get brownie points. And the person who's trying to get brownie points from the dominant society, like our brother said, sometimes that's the worst person. That's what they call crash test dummies. These folks is willing to risk it all so they can get a few, dominant society pat on the head or slaps on the ass. That's what they always try to do. And what's the first thing they do? They come over here and they try to come down on us. And they feel if they can come down on us, then the dominant society can give them some trinkets. Why do you think all these folks come over here and they got little corner stores and gas stations? All that is, that's a silent deal. The dominant society says you come on over here, you come down on Black folks, we'll give you a little corner store and you can sell them stale candy, poison, and follow their kids through the store. It is all a part of the game. The POC community, the minorities, all the tethers. I don't give a damn what accent you got. If you talking out your tether ass teeth, then you are somebody who came over here to try to harm foundational Black Americans so you could score some brownie points from the dominant society. And how do you know? Is that the dominant society will harm these people and they'll still blame us. Y'all know what happened out in Atlanta with the spa situation with that W, where he harmed all those people from the AAPI community. They ended up blaming us for that shit. So it tells you that they don't give a damn about reality. Facts don't matter. As long as they can come over here and Karen and Ken will pat them on the head, they'll be all good. That's who's coming over here. Not friends, not all lives matter, not can't we all just get along, not we all people of color. No, it's foundational Black Americans and it's everybody else. Go ahead, brother Afro, before I send it over to Cool Keezy.
Okay. You know how, I don't know if you guys saw, in the Jumbotron, I posted it just in case you guys might not have been on Twitter at that time. I posted when Michael B. Jordan was, going through it, or he was pretty much essentially being attacked and called out for quote unquote cultural appropriation when he did the whole thing with the Yvette drink with the rum or whatever it was. And Dewan was right. Nicki Minaj even got involved and said that he needed to apologize and change the name, in which he did. And I remember saying, okay, now they come over here, they feel 100% welcome. They feel like they can, you know, when you go to somebody's house, when you go to a family member's house, you know, this is how you can tell who's your real close family, who's your real close people, and then who's your family that y'all cool, but y'all ain't that cool. You know, when you go to somebody's house and you got to be respectful, you take the shoes off at the door, you sit on one cushion on the couch. You know how couches have different cushions. You make sure you only sitting on one cushion or whatever. They be all, oh, make yourself at home. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. And you kind of just be that's just the respectful stuff, you know. And then the other person's house, you know, you open the refrigerator, you open up the cabinets, you put stuff in there. Like, you don't just go to anybody's house and open their refrigerator up. No matter how if they say, make yourself at home, and you put your feet on the table, they be like, oh, I was saying that to be nice. That's not what I meant. You can be putting your feet on the table, throwing your coat on the chair, you know, open the refrigerator. No, that's not how you act in somebody else's house. But they come to our house, and they coming and they walking on the carpet with their shoes. They putting their feet on the table. They opening the refrigerator, eating all the food, opening the cabinets. You know what I'm saying? They looking in the medicine drawer in the bathroom. They doing everything. But the second we come in, the second we don't put our coat on the coat rack, they are like, oh, wow, that's cultural appropriation. You guys need to be respectful. Y'all not respectful because y'all don't have a culture. I'm like, okay, all right. I said, mark my words, the second we start keeping the same energy, y'all going to start pulling out this quote unquote Pan-Africanism that y'all discovered out of nowhere. Brothers, we all from the motherland. So can we all just get along? I don't understand why we got to be so divided. And what about the unity that we've always had? I just don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I said it, you know. We've been respectful. And they came and they felt super welcome. And then the second we went to their house, they was like, no, you was a coaster, sir. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, cool. So when they come in and they open the refrigerator and we close it in their face, they like, what, brother, what do you mean? I'm sorry. What about the unity? No, unity's over with. It's over with.
Hey, Afro, that's when they hit you with you being divisive, brother. You being divisive, brother, elites. You being divisive. Yeah, all right. Well, hey, I'll tell everybody, being divisive is good. Because how am I going to be divided from somebody I was never connected with? So 9 times out of 10, when somebody telling you you're being divisive, I think foundational Black Americans, we need to look at that stuff as a badge of honor. A badge of honor. When your op is upset, that means you on your job. That means you're doing good. I don't care. Like I said earlier, tether, Fleedman, forehead, tether, hairline, all of that shit, all in one. Because at the end of the day, as our brother Afro just said, we're going to match that same energy. And we understand that those myths and those lies that we got told back when we were younger, we got told that the whole world loved us. We got told that everybody was going to come over here and they were going to provide reinforcements against supremacy. They provided no reinforcements against supremacy. They actually came over here to assist supremacy. So when you look at it from that aspect, then you understand that it's truly foundational Black Americans over here doing our own thing. But that's cool because we've always did our own thing anyway. Being on our own is nothing new to us. So if they think that they're going to try to like isolate us and that's going to like hurt us, hell no, that's good. That works in our favor. We've always been on our own. Look what we've done on our own. I mean, the country that we're in right now, we created on our own. So getting rid of some tethers, not being friendly to them, calling them tether, fleemen, being divisive, pissing them off, that's a good thing. Sometimes you got to look at what they tell you is bad as really being good because they wouldn't tell you that otherwise. So at the end of the day, no matter how they feel, no matter if they get upset, this isn't the yes we can era. This is the hell to the no era. And in the hell to the no era, they do what foundational Black Americans say because we said it. Cool Keezy, it's all on you, brother.
Peace to the family. Hey, yeah, I'm gonna bend the corner a little bit, but it's gonna tie right in to what we're talking about. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I was born and raised around here and all of that. And you know, back when I was smaller, when I was a kid, around this time, we always celebrated Juneteenth. We always had a little Juneteenth thing in the 5 Points of Denver, East Denver. And then, you know, all the Black people come out. You see folks you ain't seen all year, you know, whatever. But what here like in the last 10, 15 years, the same weekend, which is Father's Day, the same weekend is also the Pride Parade. So you down there with your kids downtown hanging out, and then you got to pass through all kind of lewd activity. And you know, I've been speaking out against it for years, and it's like, who is in charge now that what's going to happen now that Juneteenth is now like a national thing? How could they still be able to have this parade? And what kind of leadership is where's the black leadership in every town where this is happening at? They must be tethers or you know, buck dancing bootlickers. And that's all I got right now.
Brother, hey, that's a good point. I wanted to bring that up. I'm glad you brought that up. You notice how they're trying to include, and Dewan B, you touched on this, they're trying to include the rainbow Skittles community with Juneteenth because this is their Pride Month, and our Juneteenth falls right in their Pride Month. So, I mean, in a couple of years, if we don't, hold down the fort, this shit gonna be Indigenous Peoples Day, Cinco de Mayo #5. It's gonna be Pride Month, Pride-teenth, Tether-teenth, Democrat-teenth. They're gonna do every single thing they can to dilute us. That's exactly what they're doing. And you watch it. I actually just seen a video the other day of some person on the internet, and they were sitting there saying you cannot celebrate Juneteenth without celebrating Pride Month. I'm not lying, family. I shit you not. That is exactly what I seen. You feel me? And matter of fact, Google it. It's right there. Go to YouTube, type it in. Type in Day Community and Juneteenth, and you're gonna see a whole gang of videos trying to connect it. Now, y'all know only time people ever want to be connected to foundational Black Americans is when they can leech off of us. Any other time, they don't want nothing to do with us. When you walk down this goddamn street, they stay away. People always know. I say they try to stand away from us socially, but they try to stand next to us politically so they can swoop on in and get the tangibles that belong to us. That's the old game. That's the old gambit, and they've been running that for years. So you see a lot of the POCs trying to get in on it, obviously. You see the Skittles community trying to get in on it. Yes, I said the Skittles community. And you also see the Tethers trying to get in on it, and they all got their own little sneaky, divisive ways on how they latch onto us. And us at the Black Grassroots, once again, we the only people calling this out. So I believe that we got to be more vocal. We got to piss people off even more. And every problem you solve with energy and aggression. And if you got the right energy and the right aggression, their asses is going to bust a U-turn and they're going to run right off that block the way it should be. Brother Afro, go ahead, family, and then B-Zilla.
Yeah, sorry about that delay. It's a little delay going on. I fully agree with you because the thing is that the phrase you use, they stand away from us socially, but they stand next to us politically. And too long we've allowed them to do that. Too long we've allowed them to segregate themselves away from us on a social aspect, on a we all in this together aspect. And when we say, hey, man, we all in this together, who is we? We ain't no we. You mean you and whoever else. And we've allowed them to do that on a social aspect, on an aspect of culture, on an aspect of music, on an aspect of, of food or whatever the case is, on that aspect, on the aspect of relationships, because let's be honest, you got some Nigerians who be all like, hey, don't you date those Akatas. Don't you bring an Akata home. The same way the Asians do, the same way the W's do, the same way everybody else does. So on the social aspect, and it will, there's riders in the diaspora, don't get us wrong, but on the social aspect, that's very true. That's very accurate. And then on the political aspect, now they sit up there, ain't I black though? Ain't I black? Shouldn't I be? I mean, well, I'm blacker than me. So it's blackity black when it's time to vote, when it's blackity black when it's time, when they want to run for a position or when they want to get a benefit, when they want to use affirmative action. They want to be as blackity black then. Then they picking their hair out and they throwing their fist up. But then when it's home, I can't stand these Akatas. So that's very accurate.
Hey, I'm going to say this to everybody in the space, and I guarantee y'all all know. Y'all remember before we started talking about reparations, it was stay home Akata. And then as soon as we started talking about reparations, it became come home, brother. See, they'll flip back and forth from Akata to brother whenever it's convenient to them because they all got their eyes on our pockets. How the hell you going to be Akata on Monday and then you brother on Tuesday? It don't work that way. Anybody who's saying that got a goddamn agenda. And we know they got an agenda. All of them have an agenda. Like I said, they just got agendas with different colors and different acts. That's it. And we got to play them all the same. You know, as I always say around here, I say, this is how I am. If you agree with me, good. Let's get it. I feel like this. The whole goddamn world is anti-FBA until further notice. We all seen that Muhammad Ali clip where he was talking about all the snakes coming down. And he said, do we expect a few good snakes to cover for all the bad ones? Or do you just shut the goddamn door? I'm pretty sure there's 90 plus people we have up in here, except for probably a couple trolls in the little burner accounts. But nonetheless, all of us certifies in here, I'm pretty sure we shutting that goddamn door. And there ain't nothing wrong with shutting that door, because there used to be a time, as Brother Afro said, they used to just walk in the house. They be stomping they dusty ass tether feet all on our goddamn carpet, slamming our goddamn door, going in the refrigerator, taking our shit back home. And then eventually we kicked them out the house. And then from kicking them out the house, we kicked them out the yard. And then from kicking them out the yard, we kicked them out the block, kicked them out the county, kicked them out the state. And now if you look, you starting to see motherfuckers pop up in different countries. We creating reverse immigration. They want to stop immigration. Okay, I got the best way of stopping immigration. Let foundational Black Americans start G-checking these motherfuckers, and they gonna start hitting U-turns and heading back home for free. Donald Trump can build a goddamn wall. We can spend all this type of money at the border, but I got the best solution. Foundational Black Americans, stop letting motherfuckers tether off of us, and they gonna take their ass back home, because they need what we create to even exist. Understand that. If we don't allow them to eat off our plate, they don't eat tonight. So all of the power, all the cards are in our hands. And what my brother Dewan B and Great Black Shark said, they both said this real talk. They said, we got the power, and it all starts with us being down and holding ourselves. Not anybody else, yourself. It all starts with you. And everything that we've ever done, we got by our goddamn self. Beat Zilla, it's all on you, brother.
Peace, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm in transit right now, so hopefully my sound is good. But I wanted to
listener on my side.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. But what I wanted to say is, I think we have been caught up, and what they're upset at is we are breaking the old model, because the model has been ride FBA's back for everything. So let FBA do the fighting, let FBA do the marching, let FBA do the protesting, let FBA do the pull-up. And what we're seeing is, we're saying we're only going to do that for us, and you will not be able to tether off our agenda. So what you're seeing, of course, with the Skittles bag community, they have long been planning to try to infiltrate. They've been pushing, if you haven't been paying attention. So that's something that they have been trying to find ways to integrate into our conversation. So with Juneteenth being a national holiday, look for them to make that a multicultural day. It's starting, of course, with Juneteenth. We know what the premise is and the reason behind that is, but make sure you just watch the pivot that they're going to try to start moving into a all people's day. And I think from what I'm looking at, I see that agenda on the horizon as an all people's day. So you're going to start seeing some of these groups, these organizations, especially the Black ones, talking about Black and brown and marginalized communities. So that is something to definitely keep watch on. Now, the other part is, our slumber has most definitely benefited everybody who comes and benefits off us, especially tethers. The one thing that tethers know, they can be sent back home. So if we're drying up the playing field for them, there is nowhere for them to go other than back to the place that they fled from. So that is why you're going to see a whole lot of tethers trying to come around us playing mind games and word games. Well, brother, no, we know what energy you have long had for us, and right now we are just giving you the exact same energy back, which is only right. That's called balance and fairness. So with that being said, I'm still emotional. I'll tap back in a minute, but I just wanted to say that little piece real quick.
Yes, indeed. Brother Afro Sage, y'all can take that. Go ahead.
I'm going to let Sage go because, he's just got on.
You good out here, brother?
Sound good, family.
Okay, not a problem. I got y'all on my headset. First of all, I want to say peace to the family. Shout out to my brother, Beatzilla. What the hell are you doing over there in transit, brother? But we'll talk about that later. I want to speak on Juneteenth. That's coming up. I believe that's next weekend, family. Monday next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Listen, a lot of people like to gatekeep their culture, and that's what we need to do. I think it's become unpopular to anyone that is non-FBA about the gatekeeping of the culture, but that's something that we should have been doing about 40 years ago. When our ancestors were marching out in Selma, unfortunately, when our ancestors were marching all through the South, up in the North, on the West, everywhere, East Coast, everywhere, for our freedoms that we can express today. They did that for specifically the lineage. There were not other tethers, excuse me. There were not other people over here during that time that they did that for. So they did that for everyone in this space. So much respect, much love to them. Juneteenth is about us being freed. Everyone else has their Independence Day. You have, Haitian Independence Day. You have Jamaican Independence Day. You have fucking American Independence Day. You understand now? Juneteenth is our Independence Day. We need the same respect that everyone is getting on their Independence Day. So I don't want to hear no co-opting. I don't want to see no co-opting. I don't want to hear no xenophobia. We're giving you the same energy that you're giving us. And with that for right now, family, I'm land.
Go ahead, Brother Afro.
I fully agree. Couldn't agree more. Everybody has their own thing, and the thing is that, and I've said this before, in a perfect world where we were all this big family and we all treated each other with much love and much respect, and everybody just got along perfectly, we would still need to have our own stuff. There still does need to be boundaries. You might love your brother, you might love your sister, and they come over all the time. I mean, coming over is cool, and you might let them come over anytime they might even have a spare key. But a spare key is one thing. I don't want to come home and I see you sleeping in my bed. That's a totally different thing. That's like, okay, well, clearly there needs to be a boundary in that. You a little bit too comfortable. And everybody else has that, and they understand that. So this isn't there, because this is what they're saying, that we're doing this because we don't like them. It doesn't even really have to do with us liking them. It's about us respecting our space and respecting our culture and our history and demanding that everybody else does the same. So you might love them to death, and if they had the same amount of respect for you that they claim they did, they wouldn't even be asking for you to do that. They wouldn't be asking for you to do that. The same way we don't ask to participate in exclusive holidays for them. We don't ask for that, especially when it comes to the grievances they've been through, like slavery or whatnot. We don't ask to celebrate on the Haitian Revolution holiday because we're not Haitian. But that doesn't mean we don't like them or we don't support them. But we understand when to keep our distance out of respect. So they need to do the same thing. So this isn't about a disdain for the diaspora. It's just about respect for ourselves.
Hey, and on top of that, like, boxing is the most racist sport out there. Boxing is all about racism. I love me some boxing. And Cinco de Mayo weekend, that's what Canelo's going to fight. Oscar started that tradition. Floyd did a great job of appropriating that. That's something we need to be celebrating. But this past weekend was Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend. That was another weekend again. Floyd appropriating the Puerto Rican Day weekend in Miami. Y'all gotta watch what Floyd is doing. He going on 8 days. He had that thing in Miami for a reason on Puerto Rican Day weekend. Teofimo Lopez had a fight on ESPN the Saturday night before. Before it was Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto, that was a weekend he whooped somebody's ass. Or before him, Tito Trinidad. And we never really had a Juneteenth weekend. So a couple years ago, Al Heyman on PBC did their first Juneteenth broadcast with Jamel Charlo. But then we looked at the card. Every fight was all Mexican, except for Jamel Charlo. Except for the one black headliner fight, the person that's everybody's buying the pay-per-view for. So that goes to show you, you know what I mean? Everybody has their own day, but even when we do decide to get our own day, there's an attempt. And I know these networks work. Al Heyman is in complete control of how that schedule gets put out there. I'm not absolving him of his responsibility to put more black people on the card, but I also know, you know, there's more things in play when it comes to that. So even the 2 years they tried to even do it, they brought in other people. But I brought that up for a reason. The rest of the world is very clear on their culture. You know, when Arturo Gatti used to fight, you know, he used to do his stuff around the Italian times of the year.
And you see every culture get a chance and get a time around their independence to shine the light on themselves and to celebrate themselves. We don't need to be ashamed to do that shit anymore. And if anybody, my thing is this, like, I know y'all can have a nice way of rejecting people, but my thing, I'm so tired of like being nice to these people. So when they come to me and ask me any questions like why black people, my answer is just fuck off. And I just keep going back to what I was doing. I don't have time to explain nothing to you. Just fuck off. And it's time for me to get back to what I gotta do. You are irrelevant. We're gonna do this whether you like it or not. So you just kiss my ass and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Hey, Dewan, before I let you go, hey, hold on. I got to ask you a question, brother. Who you got? Spencer Crawford. This way off subject, y'all. I just got to know that. Spence? Well, hey, TKO or knockout?
12
or
round
decision.
12 round beat down. And it's funny. I saw Sam Watson in the airport last week. We were talking about it. And he just was like, man, Terrence don't know what he got coming for him, bro. Because Terrence been fighting people after they prime. He about to get the real deal now at 147.
Deal. Hey, I'm with you on that one, bro. 12 rounds all day. Sage, go ahead, brother.
I had to disagree with Brother Dwan, but we'll talk more when the fight comes up. I'm a little worried for Errol Spence Jr. Personally, this is a lose-lose because both of them brothers are foundational stuff. To be honest, I kind of did not want them to fight secretly, but now that we're getting the mega fight, whatever, enjoy. But I'm a little worried for my brother Errol Spence Jr. But getting back on topic, which is interesting that Dwan brought up. I live in New York. We just had the whole Puerto Rican Day Parade in every single borough within New York. If you don't know anything about New York, there's 5 boroughs. Every single borough had its own Puerto Rican Day Parade. The biggest obviously being in the city. Were there any hate spaces about Puerto Ricans being xenophobic or being, exclusive about their culture? Because I don't remember seeing any. Now, I may be, on the outs of that. I might have been mistaken. But I don't remember seeing anyone saying anything negative about Puerto Ricans online. It's only when we decide to gatekeep our culture that everyone starts to say, oh, you're xenophobic, you're doing this, you're doing that. And you have to keep the same energy that you have for us, for everyone else. Again, Puerto Rican Day Parade just passed. Shout out to my brother, like Dewan B brought up, Floyd. Floyd has made hundreds of millions of dollars off of racism. Floyd fought Arturo Gotti. He fought Maidana. He fought all of them either close to or on Cinco de Mayo. And because these people are so prideful and because they wanted to pay to see Floyd lose so much, he ended up grossing hundreds of millions of dollars. So to anyone that's listening, use their culture against them the same way like that they call us xenophobic. Let's use their culture and them being so prideful against them. And let's make money off of that. And with that, I'm going to land.
Hey, real quick, Sage, and did you notice that when Pacquiao fought Floyd, all of those other races, they teamed up with Pacquiao, even people who weren't Filipino?
Yes, because boxing is like that. Boxing, that's what sells the tickets. In all honesty, from Jack Johnson on, they pay to see us lose. They want to see how we're going to react when we lose. When Adrian Broner lost to Marcus Maidana, and he got that work. Let me just say that. He did. He got that work. They went home happy. But when, I think Tariq spoke about this also. He went to the fight, I believe, with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. And there was a lot of people out there with the Philippines flags. There was a lot of people out there. And they asked Tariq, who was he going for? And he said the American. Now, these were American people out there with the Filipino flag. They're not Filipino. They're not even Asian. They're just against the black people. Go ahead, brother.
Page. What make that so egregious? Is Manny Pacquiao, before they started, they became a Manny Pacquiao fan later on, just to spite Floyd. They hated Manny Pacquiao. They didn't start liking Pacquiao until it was time to fight Floyd. And Floyd, remember, he beat Juan Manuel Marquez on Cinco de Mayo. Remember, Marquez was the Mexican of the 2010s. He was the guy after Chavez. He was the biggest Mexican fighter after Julio Cesar Chavez. And so Floyd, then he beat up, what's his name, Canelo Alvarez on Cinco de Mayo while wearing red Mexican colored flag shorts and a fucking sombrero. Like, I always say, get out of when it comes to these personalities, whether you're talking about Floyd, Kanye, these extreme personalities, it's easy to get into what you don't like about them and to major in those minors. There's one thing they do understand. They understand how to monetize other people's racism against them, especially Floyd. Floyd he may go around and say, I support Gucci. He'll do things on top, yada, yada. And Floyd does do some dumb stuff. That's cool. He's human. There are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. Watch how this dude makes his money. He goes into the devil's den, say, I know you don't fuck with me, and he plays jujitsu with these dumb motherfuckers.
Every single black boxer had to be the villain. Everyone, all this shit where they love Muhammad Ali, that's bullshit. They hated Muhammad Ali. They didn't start acting like they liked Muhammad Ali until he couldn't really speak anymore. He was debilitated. That's when they did. Before that, they hated Muhammad Ali. They hated Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was literally voted the worst person in the world. Now, mind you, Mike Tyson was not a guy out there doing all these types of crimes and none of that shit. So they took Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, you name them, and they always pinned them against somebody. The only time they ever really like a black boxer is when you just shut up and smile. And that's pretty much indicative of what life is. So you see that all the time in boxing. You see it all the time in really all those combat sports. Take MMA. When it's come to MMA, they make MMA because all the W dudes out there fighting, but they don't support John Jones. John Jones is pretty much considered in, well regards that he's the best
John
MMA
Jones
fighter.
Is the greatest MMA fighter of all time.
Hey, now Sage, right behind him. What's the dude from Brazil, the black dude?
Anderson Silva.
Okay, now both of those guys, they never been embraced like that Ronda Rousey, who was a damn W woman, and they never been embraced like what's the other fucking dude's name? The dude that Sugar Rashad Evans knocked out. I forget his name. Not Tito's. What's that dude's name? He got knocked. Anyway, some goddamn W.
They backed off Ronda Rousey when it came out that her granddaddy black. Remember that?
Oh goddamn, man, we done. Y'all go ahead and take that receipt.
She was everything. Then she said, "No, my grandfather's black." Then you notice you haven't heard as much Ronda Rousey talk. And Goldie said earlier, and I'm going to say this real quick. You said about Andre Ward was a smiling Negro. A perfect fighter, never lost a fight. What happened when it was time for him to fight Andre Kovalov? But the minute it was a close fight against Kovalov, so white American media, and this is some Andre Ward smile, he was everything Floyd wasn't, except that they were both perfect fighters fighting at the same time, unblemished record, beating the best of the best. Floyd was boisterous. Andre Ward was quiet and humble, son of God, Christian, selling out arenas in Oakland. But it was a close fight. All of a sudden, Andre Ward is a fraud. Max Kellerman, ESPN, HBO, they're all talking shit. Andre Ward worked for HBO, and HBO was shitting on him and put him at third pound for pound because he had a close win against Kovalov. Then when he came back and beat the shit out of Kovalov the next fight, they act like, okay, yeah, great.
Duan, wasn't Andre Ward a gold medalist?
Yes.
Damn.
The white father, and he's race blind. He's always, when race comes up, Andre Ward be the one, well, I did have a white father, so I don't want to. He do everything. And they act like this man didn't retire a perfect fighter beating the best of the best of the best of the best. And he was a good nigga. So even being a good nigga don't work.
Muhammad Ali was also a gold medalist. And old girl, Clarissa Shields, they never embrace her. And she's a gold medalist. It don't go nowhere. And by the way, Sage, that was Chuck Liddell that got his ass knocked out.
I want to say, because you brought up John Jones, and for anyone in here that doesn't watch MMA, John Jones has done something that's never been done before. John Jones technically is undefeated in MMA. I know when you go to his record, it says that he has one loss. Now, if you look into it, he won that fight, but they said that he took like some type of metabolic steroids, so they gave him a loss. But when you watch the fight, he won. His hand was raised as if he was the winner, but they took it from him even after the fact. So John Jones has never actually lost anything in MMA. He's undefeated. No one else has done that. And I want to repeat, John Jones is a foundation of Black American. So was his brother Chandler Jones, who plays in the NFL. I believe both his brothers are in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. But back to Floyd. And I don't, matter of fact, no. I don't want to get off track, even though, Dwan, we're going to talk about the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. Because I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Errol Spence wins. I hope. My brother John Horst is next. Then we're going to go to Mac and then back to you, D-Zilla. John Horst is on you, brother.
Yo, what's good? Yo, I just want to also say too, understand, as Dewan was sitting there talking about our culture, there's a reason why, what I'm saying, we're the top fighters in these combat sports, bro. It's in our blood to be fighters. That's a part of our culture. We come from a bloodline of people who fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. The reason why Floyd is so good, Charlo, John Jones and all of them, that's the reason why. It's just in our bloodlines. It's FBAs. You know what I'm saying? So, we come from a culture of resistance and fighting. That's just who we are. And a lot of these other people, that's what pisses them off about us. When they go home, their family members back home rock with us more than they rock with them. And that chaps a lot of people's asses, bruh. You know what I'm saying? They know it's like, like they're not looked at as the center of what freedom and justice is. We are. You know what I'm saying? It's way more deeper than just, the food that we cook, the music that we make and everything like that. Our culture is freedom. Our culture is justice. That's who we are. And a lot of times, a lot of times we don't really think of it that way, but as of recently, just looking at everything that we've been through, bro, like we are the face of freedom. That's our culture. Justice, freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because, and always, ask yourself this, the dominant society cannot be the face of freedom because they've been the main proponents of taking freedom. They're not just people. That's not their culture. These other people come to America because of us. We are the face of freedom. That's our culture. Don't let nobody, when anybody tells you that, oh, y'all don't have a culture, oh, you got to sit there and say, my culture is freedom. My culture is justice. That is what Black Americans' culture is. And if they try to rebuttal with that and they talk about all of this other stuff and the white supremacists, is like, how can the white supremacists be faces of justice when they took justice? The reason why you here is because they fucked up where y'all came from. And we've been fighting them not since the 1600s. We've been fighting them since the 1400s. Non-stop. We've been fighting them that long. And they other groups of people who aren't even on this planet anymore. Just understand that. We've been fighting them that long. They other groups of people who don't even exist anymore. And we've been fighting them, going strong, doing our best. And that's what pisses a lot of people off. That's what, a lot of these people across seas, the people who don't flee, some of the people who don't flee across seas looking at us as the beacons of hope for them. And I'll just land there.
We got to start representing our people. That's why I tell folks, man, we got to be as arrogant as possible. All that like, man, he ain't doing good enough. We got to represent our folks. Clarissa Shields right now, she's the baddest woman in any combat sports. A lot of folks don't even know her name. So if you do not know her name, go ahead and check it out. Matter of fact, she just fought, I think, last weekend and put her hands on somebody. Check her out. Matter of fact, I think she could beat a couple dude fighters. But that's another story. Check her out. She gets down. All of our people, we got folks in every aspect. As John Horst was just saying, we just natural fighters. We natural athletes. We do it all. We got to support and represent each other. And that goes back to what you were saying, Dewan, and our brother Great Black Shark. He left, but as long as we represent our culture, that's what it is. So it doesn't just start with G-check and tethers. You know what I'm saying? Before you even get to the point where you start G-checking people who are trying to mooch off you, you got to have pride in what you're doing. Those of us, all of us right here certified, I believe most of us, we got a lot of pride. And a lot of people can be the examples. And we put it down and we let people know that what we do is just the best. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Because trust and believe, these other groups, they're nowhere near the best. These motherfuckers ain't nowhere near our category, but yet they walk around with a pride as if they are. So when we're the best, act like it, own it, put it down and represent it. And that's shit that really changes things and it lets people know what's real. And it starts with Juneteenth, reparations, lineage, heritage, culture, all across the board. If it's got our fingerprints on it, then we need to represent it and own it. Pete Zilla, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. It's funny that y'all kind of brought up like Floyd Mayweather and the whole boxing situation. I want to kind of tie something in. Back for those who are, are aware of Floyd's like earlier career, very early career, they were trying to keep him off the TV. And so they were trying to kind of tailor his career. ESPN was kind of courting him. So ESPN always had Floyd's fights on like Tuesdays and Saturday nights. So Floyd Mayweather was fighting on ESPN in the earlier days. But he was so cold, so ESPN was basically caking up off of Floyd. Well, Brother Mike Tyson went ahead and kind of reached out to Floyd and took him under his wing and started teaching him the game and telling him basically own your own business. So, you know, and then he got, the brother, was it Paul Heyman? So they started getting that game together to start working Floyd's career as his own independent business early. Al Heyman, thank you. So what they were doing is on the undercards of Mike Tyson fights, especially the pay-per-views, they started introducing Floyd Mayweather there. So what the white, you know, the powers that be that had all the control. You talk about ESPN, that's Disney money. But this young brother was like, nah, I'm just finna keep it for myself and just break off those around me. So for what people may not know of why people hate Floyd Mayweather so much is because when he came in the game, he surrounded himself by a bunch of extremely seriously business-minded black folks and started making his independent move early. So by the time that he started getting them belts, he already had some cake up under his belt and was just amassing his fortune and power. No young black, I don't believe any black fighter has actually came into such a absolute anti-black business with that level of ownership. So you have to understand what they hate about Floyd Mayweather. And so again, tie that into when we're talking about reparations, they hate one rich Negro. How much more are they terrified of us having the opportunity to even just have a level playing field as just the collective? Oh, it's problems. Because if you could see this young brother who they've been proven was illiterate, well, I guess he's illiterate. So how much does that say value is in their education system when he's one of the richest people that you can visibly see? Not to say education is not valuable, but my point is this brother had his determination, his foundational black determination with his foundational black elders and assistants to go ahead and do what he has been able to pull off. He is the best pound for pound fighter going down in history undefeated. And he did that without any major outside promotion outside of himself. He picked those fights, had Oscar De La Hoya beat the hell out of Oscar De La Hoya on Cinco de Mayo. This dude literally came out in the whole Mexican garb with the sombrero to match, and the gloves were in the Mexican flag colors. So for everybody who don't really understand the mind of the maniac they call Floyd Mayweather, understand that brother is more focused than you will ever understand. But his tactics may not be the most likable at times, but trust me, that brother has put some major things together that is historical. So that should go off to brother Floyd Mayweather right off the rip. And shout out to also Mike Tyson for even making that way to make sure he had the stage. So foundational black Americans. Go ahead, brother, you got it.
This is how deep it is with Floyd. Mike Tyson was the first fighter to sign a network. He signed he signed to Showtime, and that was the first big shift when Tyson signed to Showtime in the mid-90s. What Floyd did was he paid $800,000 to free himself from his contract. Well, Al Heyman put that money up, $800,000, to free Floyd up from that contract. Because before he was Pretty Boy Floyd. Then from there he created the Money Mayweather moniker. And so it's something that he created to sell to the world. And this is the same Al Heyman that I used to put on the Budweiser Fest here in San Diego. Same Al Heyman that produced the greatest tour of all time, the Michael Jackson Bad Tour, the Jackson 5 Victory Tour. This is the same Al Heyman. And this is the Al Heyman that when he created, what he did was he used Floyd. Floyd became his own person, and Floyd was the first fighter to literally sign a network. Floyd, not Larry Merchant, the other white boy at HBO, the
No, it's Larry.
Announcer.
Huh? That's Larry Merchant. You think of Larry Merchant?
Larry bitch ass motherfucker. He was disrespectful after Floyd whipped somebody's ass, and he said, "You know what, man? Fuck you." And then Floyd went to Showtime and signed a network to him, and he did that. And then from there, PBC they flipped that into the PBC, And the PBC brought regular boxing back to regular TV, NBC, Fox, and all that stuff. And it's a whole network with the Charler Brothers, Spence, and a whole network of black fighters, the best fighters on the planet. And ESPN makes sure they don't put any PBC in a fighter in the top 10, in the top 5 pound for pound list on purpose, even though they know all them PBC fighters will whoop everybody else's asses. That's because Black Al Heyman owns it. So that's how powerful Floyd is and how powerful the moves he made is. And we always got to know, in this dominant society, in this American society, we don't run this society. So people who make moves on that level, you can damn guarantee they're going to say things and do things that make us be one down of folks on the ground look at them like, what the fuck are you doing? Got to understand, like, it's like flight rules when I'm flying a plane. When you get above 50,000 feet in the air, the rules of flight change. You know what I mean? As you get higher up, what works at 20,000 feet don't work at 60,000 feet. And so we got to understand that. And when we see people making, I ain't saying be no outright Jay-Z shit, just undercut other black people and be like, hey, you know what I mean? I got a job, so no more kneeling. I ain't talking about that weird shit. But I'm talking about it's gonna be certain weird shit that they do that we just gonna have to be like, okay, I get it. But the bigger move is a lot, not one black person got wealthy. A lot of black people got wealthy, and the way it's been made, we got to understand that.
And brother, I believe that when he signed that deal, or like you said, when he signed Showtime to him, I believe that's right after he got out of jail.
Yep, he signed Showtime to him right after he got out of jail, and that's when he came out and he did what he did. And it's those kind of power moves that's what they don't like about Floyd Mayweather, right there.
For those who don't know Al Heyman basically, if you remember when a lot of us were younger, boxers used to have these terrible stories where they had money, they went broke, they became alcoholics, they died tragically, all of that type, all that Joe Louis type of stuff. If you look at these young brothers today that are boxing, these brothers are touching money for real, and they got different endeavors, and you can see it. Basically, what he has created is where I have a deal, I sign my brother signs my cousin signs his little brother, and what we doing? We keeping it all in-house, which is what has always worked for foundational Black Americans. And he's created that system. He is literally out there putting brothers and sisters in positions of power to where they can go. You can take Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner. There was a guy named Robert Easter Jr. All of these guys were friends, and they were all basically signed to each other until you come up and then you create your own. It's a whole gambit of Black empowerment going on. And that's why you don't see those stories too much anymore of Black folks, crashing out and, the Don Kings. Don King is really irrelevant. Like you were saying, Dewan, it's Bob Arum is basically Bob Arum been trashed for about 10 years since really Al Heyman showed up. He's been pretty gone. Bob Arum, nobody even trusts him no more, so it's a different game now, and it's all about Black American excellence. And it ties into what we were talking about in this whole space where it's all about our culture. And once we represent our culture, this type of thing doesn't go on. We don't fall out. We don't crash out. There's no tragic stories. There's not that poor righteous teacher stuff. We got away from all of that stuff where we're supposed to just struggle. We're supposed to take less, and then we allow everybody to come on in. We've disallowed all of that from happening, and it's based on the mentality. A simple attitude change goes a long way, and we changed our attitude. So this is why foundational Black Americans at this point are thriving. And people gonna say we're not thriving and none of that. Let me say, I remember 10 years ago, I remember 15 years ago. And if you believe that we are in the same position now that we were in then, you wrong. It's a completely different game. There's terminologies that we don't even use. I remember a couple years ago when we would represent our own culture, it'd be other Black folks that would get upset with you. Now, if they come around here and try to diss us, they run out of our spaces. They don't hang around where we're at. When we talk about being foundational Black American first, go ahead and say that back in 2000. Go ahead and say that in 2005. Go back to when Obama was president and say we about foundational Black Americans first. Black folks would be the ones saying, man, y'all being divisive. Y'all wrong. Can't we all get along? Yes, we can. Obama changed things. That type of rhetoric don't fly no more. That type of rhetoric don't fly. We shut all of that down. And that's based on us holding it down and representing our own culture and not allowing anybody to come in this foundational Black American house. Brother Afro, I think I still got you, brother. I know there was technical difficulties. You still there, brother? All right, brother. We were jumping, man. Right? Yeah, I hear you, brother. You had disappeared off my screen, brother. It wasn't even then. I had to actually drop the phone and bring it back up to see you again, brother.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've been trying to listen. I've been listening to what most people are saying, but You know, it would be coming in and out sometimes. But I feel like I heard most of what everybody was saying.
Brother, tell everybody that we talked about this before, you and I. Tell everybody the differences you've seen, family, within the last 5 to 6 years in our community. I'm talking about the what I call the black grassroots effect, and how for the first time, the black grassroots is really controlling the narrative. It's not the Roland Martins of the world. It's not the Democratic parties of the world. It's us controlling our own narratives. And I can ask Zilla, Dewan, everybody up here, anybody who want to come up, what are the main differences you've seen in terms of the black grassroots controlling the narrative for our community opposed to having it controlled by somebody else?
Okay, well, before, not long ago, it used to be a thing where black people just need to do better and get better. And there was black people pushing this narrative. Black people just need to go to college, and black people just need to get a good job. And if black people went to college and got a good job and stayed out of debt and stayed out of trouble, everything would be fine. And anything that happened to you after the civil rights movement, any bad thing that happened to you, that you had it coming. And there would be black people in the mainstream that was pushing this narrative. And that narrative started to disappear. Now, what we hear is that us on social media, us on Twitter and Twitter Spaces and all that, we're this fringe group. We don't really reach. Our reach is very small. We think our reach is bigger than it is. This whole FBA thing, the reach is very small. Nobody in real life is really going to be like that. It's only a few of us online who are on that type of page. But now we're starting to see a collective of the culture starting to be changed. It's the culture that's being changed, whether they know about the new black media, whether they know about FBA or not. Just the effect of the culture is changing in and of itself. There was this one brother, I believe he was Foundation Black American, but he was in, England or London or something like that. And he was asking ladies about, their dating preferences. And they was talking about, I want a man with culture, or whatever the case is. And he was like, no, Black Americans, we are the culture. Well, what culture do y'all have that we don't have? Because we can name stuff that we have, y'all don't have. There was another podcast with some brothers on it, and they had a Haitian woman up there. She was like, y'all better thank us for 1804, because it wasn't for 1804, y'all wouldn't be here or whatever. Now, a few years ago, we would have been like, yeah, man, shout out to the Haitians for 1804, man. Y'all really set it off. But now y'all saw how the brothers checked them like, yeah, what did 1804 have to really do with anything? No, we the culture here. So it's a cultural effect. Now, everybody might not be on the same page as far as FBA. Everybody might not be on the same page as far as that's concerned. Yet that might not be as well known as of right now. But as far as the effect of the culture, as far as the effect of even when it comes to policy, as far as the effect of when it comes to the Democrats, there was a lot of people last year that I was talking to about voting, about Lori Lightfoot and everything. They was like, man, I don't vote. I don't vote what they do for us. All that, we got to vote, y'all. We got to vote. That stuff is going away. That stuff is fading. The tactics that you see Joe Biden have to go through now, get your booty to the polls. They would never have to go through that 10 years ago. They would never have to go through that 10 years ago. Instead of having strippers dance at a polling station to get people to go because they would never have to do that because black people felt obligated. They felt it was a duty to vote. Now black people don't feel like that. So that's a cultural change. So whether they heard that idea from the new black media or not, it's reaching them and it's affecting them. And it's happening in a very short amount of time. That's why I always say we got to lead by example. We don't need to wait for everybody to get on the same page and everybody to be lockstep with us and everybody to do the same thing we're doing. We just have to do it, and we have to do it and be consistent about it and do it enough for people to see and to see how it's effective, to see how it works, and people will follow that plan.
Facts, brother. I don't think people remember how off code the community was 10 to 12 years ago, especially you go back during Obama. You go back during Obama, it was a travesty. our brothers and sisters were, completely off code. And I believe that it's all based on us. When I say the black grassroots, I mean everybody in here. Even when I say the new black media, I mean all of us, because you don't have to have a platform to be in the new black media, because we all share information. It's each one teach one. So we learn a lot from everybody. So it's all a collective. We move as a unit. We don't move individually. And since we do move collectively, you've seen change. Roland Martins and these people, they can't come around. They used to control everything. They used to control everything. Basically, every single democratic agenda or democratic narrative was the mainstay in our community, because that's how much power they had. If you look now, there's a lot of people who just don't have power. The pastor, they used to run around and sell us a whole bunch of religious lies. They have no power no more. All these democratic shields, they have no power no more. All these peoples of colors and minorities, they have no power no more. And if they don't have any power, then who's responsible for taking their power away? They didn't give it away. Y'all know they're going to try to hold on to that forever. So they didn't give it away. We took it away. And that goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's all about being a man and woman of business, of charge, of action, and making sure that whatever you say, you go out and do it. And once we've been out here doing what we say, and once we've been out here really putting in the work and representing our culture, that's what changes. So as we speak about representing our heritage, representing our traditions, it all has to be with us. Because once you let one tether in, I'm going to tell you, tethers come 2s, 4s, and 5s. You can't let one tether in and say, I'm gonna let him in because he said some nice shit. Okay. You let him in, he gonna bring in Mr. Fufu, Mr. Jollof, Mr. Rice and Beans, Mr. Chicken Chow Mein. Next thing you know, you're gonna look up, you're gonna have a whole goddamn house full of that. You cannot have that. You gotta be very, very stern. These other communities, they don't let nobody in. They don't let nobody in. Go ahead and try to weasel your way in. We already knows what happened when these black folks think they're going to weasel their way into the dominant society. That shit turned out real bad. And the same mentality can be applied here. We don't need to allow nobody in, because once you do that, everything gets diluted, everything gets changed and flipped up. And what I love the most about this era today is that we're not allowing it to happen. I love the term tether. I'm sorry. I put it down, write it down. I try to say tether at least 15 times a day. All right, that's what I suggest all y'all do the same goddamn thing. I believe we don't say tether enough. We don't say tether enough. We don't say Fleedman, and I believe I created Fleedman. I don't know if somebody else did. If somebody else did, I apologize. But that's what we need to do. Go ahead, brother. You can go ahead and take it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Black Alpha had to step out, but I agree. All that being nice and stuff like that, that has a bad effect. We have to understand why we're like that. That's why it's important for us to stand our history, for us to learn that, so we can correct things about us. There's us as Black Foundation, Black Americans. We are really the nicest people in the world, if we're going to be honest. Considering all the help we've given, considering all the mercy we've given, and the forgiveness we've given, we're the nicest people in the world. Because we've always had a thing of we've never been treated nice by anybody, and we had the standard of treat people how you want to be treated. And we're the only ones who really live by that, and who historically lived by that. Not just ourselves and our people, we've treated other people like that. We went above and beyond to other people like that. But unfortunately, and this is why it's important for us to understand, that can be a good and a bad thing. When it's done without any sort of boundaries, when it's done without any limits at all, that's a bad thing. Now it's a thing where we're getting finessed. Now it's a thing where we're being taken advantage of, and people are using us. Now it's a thing where we're elevating other people above ourselves, because in the past, I'm not going to say now, but in the past, we didn't have a boundary for that. Now what we're getting to is this cultural shift where instead of being the nice, okay, well, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and shout out to you, and putting everybody else on and putting everybody else above us, now what we're doing is putting a boundary, a necessary boundary. And sitting up there, to be honest, we need to be taking taxes from people. Since people are co-signing, since people are coattailing us, since people are piggybacking us, then we need to be taking taxes. Now we're sitting up there be all like, no, remember you said this and you said this. And as far as being nice now people need to start being punished for disrespect. See, that's the boundary that we're at right now. Now we're on and I see our brother Torian in the room, now we're on our villain arc right now. Now we're on the arc of, okay, you know what, instead of being nice, let me show you that not only do I not have to be nice, but I can be very mean. One of the things about nice people is people think that people are nice because they don't have the option to be mean. People think that people are nice because they don't have any other choice to be nice. Oh, you're nice because you're weak. That's why niceness is so closely associated with weakness, because they say, oh, you're nice because that's what you have to be. You can't do that. You either can't do it because you don't have the capability, or you don't have the will to do that. So niceness is associated with weakness, which isn't necessarily the case, but too often that's been the case for them. So now what we have to do is we have to show them that, oh, okay, I can drop the nice guy act. And we're in this cultural shift where we're getting straightening done. And this isn't about hate. We don't hate nobody. We're just setting the standard. And the standard is applied to everybody. And if they were respectful, they wouldn't have a problem with it. So all of the people saying that we're being hateful, all of the people saying that we're being quote unquote xenophobic, you ask, okay, well, what's wrong with the standard? Because we're not any more xenophobic than you. So we're not going to start the xenophobic game at us. We're not going to start the xenophobic game at where we do it. That's not where we draw the line. If we're going to do that, we're going to keep the same energy with everybody. Beatzilla left. Sage was on. If Sage ain't on, then Nikki, you go.
No, Queen, go ahead. Go first, Queen. Go ahead.
You got it, Nikki.
Peace to the space. Peace to the host, co-hosts, everyone on the stage, and everyone in the audience. I wanted to speak on the benefits of the Black grassroots controlling the narrative. I feel like new Black media, by means of social media and us using our platforms and our voices to debunk untruths told by the mainstream media, that's a way to control the narrative. Also, with social media, negative stereotypes are spread about us, like the grooving gorilla. And then you see Black women on social media dancing sexually with their sons. I've seen Black people within our circle really give it to those women, for dancing like that with their children on social media. That's something that we have to shame them for. Also, us having the ability to educate our children and adults about foundational Black American history and culture, especially since narratives are being pushed in the public school system. I saw a post today where they were just getting rid of any books. They were getting rid of books and throwing them away that were just all Black history books. It was humongous boxes of books with Black history books, and they're trying to say that the books were just old books, but most of them were Black history books. So we know what was going on there. And speaking of culture, like within the past 3 years, we've become diligent about gatekeeping our music, theater, and narratives that have been pushed about hip hop, being created by non-FBAs. Like I noticed that a whole lot of people ended up getting blocked by Fat Joe, and I think that's a win because he feels intimidated by the people on Twitter. He's made it publicly known that the Black people on Twitter are coming for him. So he hears our voices in the new Black media. So that's a win. I take that as a win. Lastly, the benefits of the Black grassroots controlling the narrative runs into this Juneteenth situation. As many people know, I live in Milwaukee County, and a Nigerian student was crowned Miss Juneteenth in Milwaukee for the 2023 celebration. So when I discovered this, I was greatly disturbed, and I reached out to the organizers. There are also some other names within the Black grassroots circle who's reached out to her as well. But particularly because I met some of these people before in circles, and I served on boards with them, I thought it would be a good idea to reach out to them. So I had made several appointments to go up there and speak with her in person. And at first they took down my email and they made an appointment. I was supposed to go down there on Friday, and she canceled. Well, I'll tell that other part later, but my goal was to not take the girl's crown. What I was going to talk to her about, I was going to talk to her about perhaps, since she's a child and since she's already been crowned and it's so close to the date, that, I could help them with foundational Black American history, give them some talking points, and tell them what to say. And then we would work together on crowning an FBA girl for the next upcoming year and using the correct colors. And I could help use this as an educational moment, since, we know people, certain people in circles, we know each other, kind of. So that was my goal. But at first, the organizers were polite, and then they start just being rude and telling people that they would be trespassed if they show up there. They stop returning my calls, and they start telling me and other people that, at least the Nigerian girl knows who her people are, knows what her history is. So I don't know if I should take that as an L or whatever, but I feel like we're going to stay on their asses. Another thing, I'm trying to figure out if I want to go because I'm not going to be in LA sadly, I'm not going to be in LA for Juneteenth. I'm going to be up here. But my history with Juneteenth in Milwaukee is seeing Clydesdale horses, sheriffs riding on Clydesdale horses, calling people the N-word with rifles out. Milwaukee is an experience. So I need to figure out, do I go up there, cause a scene? Is that going to be effective or not? But I'll land at that. I just wanted to give my opinion and let people know that, since I do live in Milwaukee, I did try to do something about it, but it's a very difficult city to deal with when it comes to racism and Black people being on code. It's very difficult. Have a good day, everybody.
I mean, you got to give our sister Nikki her credit for actually working on it and not just saying that there's a problem and complaining about the problem. You have to give people credit. Now, she's by herself in Milwaukee. There's a very deep racist history in Milwaukee. If you guys don't know, Milwaukee is the home of Jeffrey Dahmer. That's where Jeffrey Dahmer was out there kidnapping Black men and eating them. So Milwaukee has a very, very deep racist history. So for one person to be trying to sit up there and do something by herself and get all this pushback, you have to salute her for even having even having the spine to do that. You have to give her flowers for that. So we appreciate that. And, maybe something can happen, I don't know. We're going to have to look into that, but we got to give you your credit for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
B-Zilla, you got it. Oh, Black Up, you back?
Yeah, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I got you good, family. Let me say this real quick. First off, I hate when I'm on a space and somebody called me, especially when I told their ass not to call me, but it's all good. Salute to you, Sister Nikki, because that's what I like. And I'm glad you brought that up, sister, because I forgot all about that Nigerian lady who was just happy. She was giddy to be Miss Juneteenth. She was just super giddy. She knows she was about to send some Jollof back home or something and some goddamn bundles or something. I don't know. But salute to you for doing that. And that's the type of, as you were saying, Brother Afro, leading by example of maintaining our culture. We're all gatekeepers. We're all gatekeepers. We can do it individually. We move better collectively, but we can do it individually as well. We got to make sure that no matter what goes down and no matter what occurs, though, when we see something that's off code or somebody trying to violate our culture, we got to check it. We can't let that stuff slide. There's no time to let nothing slide no more. We can't sit here and just let shit go. Say, I ain't going to get to it. I ain't going to do that. You're being proactive, sister, and not reactive. Reactive, that gets us, with the Ukrainians coming into town. That gets us with the Afghan refugees, and that gets us with the people of color. And that's all the problems. Every problem we've ever had as foundational Black Americans has been being reactive instead of proactive. So salute to you, sister, for being proactive, and everybody else who's proactive anytime. I don't care if you at the grocery store. You see somebody out here and they disrespecting the culture, get with them. Get with them. Let them know what time it is. Let them know that ain't going to fly. I know a lot of brothers and sisters have been shutting it down. Salute to everybody, because it was 1 year ago that they was trying to hit us with that damn Juneteenth ice cream. And what happened? Brothers and sisters got that out the paint. They was going to let that go. And y'all know 10, 15 years ago, that shit would still be on the shelves. And brothers and sisters would have been completely okay with it. So I love the way we handled that. We seen something that was wrong. We seen something that was a violation. And we said, we're going to go and make sure that shit is gone. So whoever invested in that, they better go get a refund, because foundational Black Americans ain't let nobody mooch off the culture no more. Go ahead. I think, was it you, Afro, Say, Zilla? I was gone for a minute. So whoever's next.
No, it's me. I've been waiting for a minute, but let me get this one in. to answer your question about what changes have I seen in the last 5 years, one of the major changes that I've seen over the last 5 years is on the global side of things. We have sparked a conversation of delineation, not just with us here and all of the, the would-be tethers, but other people. Like, you have Chinese here that want to be called foundational Chinese Americans. We did that. And if you look at this, this new deal for the people's whatever, new deal for new people, that is literally our lingo. You're watching a lot of these groups take our lingo, and some of the stuff happens in these spaces. They're going to Congress and going to state legislature to go get these things put in place for their groups, and they have advocates. So right now I'm seeing them siphoning off information and instruction on how to create change and manifest change based off of what we're doing. So now take that to other countries. We don't see it on the news here, but there has been a worldwide turn up. And it's been ever since the whole George Floyd thing. So the whole world has been turning up against the so-called establishment, as you will, if you will. And that has definitely started with us. Look at Richard Sudan. He's over there in the UK, and there's other people over there in the UK that can honestly say we have sparked something in them over there. So what they're now starting to look for, they're looking at England for owing reparations. You have Caribbean countries now actively pursuing reparations, because what you had before was leaders of certain areas that were just looking out for themselves, making deals to get money for themselves, but not for the people. This is a movement of the people. So that's what's changed over the last 5 years, is that now the powers that be, the politicians in place, all of these people are scared of you. Because now that you're waking up realizing that, well, hell, our vote is the power. Our money is also the power. Our voice is even that much more powerful when we come speak it collectively. We are literally casting our shadow on the world of positive change and getting the change of oppression up off of our necks. So, I mean, one thing I could see, they've went through the whole gambit. We've been Russian bots. Then you force most of us in front of a damn camera. So now you see that we have voices and faces. And now you're able to see, damn, this is really the grassroots speaking. This is really the grassroots moving. And so I think that impact alone is like none other than before, because it's literally the people setting the narrative, not no mainstream media, not no, funded by whoever, God knows where, none of that. It's literally just us. And so moving into, to where we are now, reparations is a serious conversation on a federal level and on multiple state levels. That would not be if not for all of you. All of you matter. Your voices matter. Understand. It's like a car. We all got moving and working parts, but we all working together. And I think the one thing that moving in this grassroots is, it's a new, I would say, I hate to say new movement, but it is a new thing. So with every new thing, you're going to have growing pains. But the one thing that has stayed steady is the message. The message is justice, reparations, and putting a solid end to the system of white supremacy. Can you dig it, my brother?
I'll tell everybody like this, man. We done did more in the last 5 years than they did in the last 50. And that's no disrespect to the last 50. That's just reality. That's just reality. We got rid of all those old, outdated terms. Anybody who's came at us with any type of falsified energy, we done got rid of them. The consciousness has changed, and we all a part of it. So that's the great thing. Brother Sage, can you hear me, family? I don't know if you're there or not. My brother must be having little issues. What about you, brother Eastside?
Oh man, I've been fiending for this space, man, with all our good FBA family, man. I ain't even gonna fake. But be honest with you, B Zilla said pretty much 2/3 of what I was already gonna say. But I'll say this real quick. You know, we are the template, we are the example, we are the light that the people will follow. You know, everything that has come about has been based on what we've done, the steam that we've built. You know, like he said, the uprisings that taking place on a global scale. It started off here with us and these Confederate statues. You know, now everybody else wanted to get rid of their Confederate statues. Pretty soon, we want to erase colonization off the planet. But we have to do it as a unit. We have to do it together. And that means everybody's sticking to the plan, sticking to the code. You know, the code is the leader, no singular person. That's why we can never have another Malcolm X in terms of leadership. Just an idea. You can kill a leader, you can kill a revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution. I'll land there.
Certified salute to that, family. I got to make this point. I made it real earlier in the space, but I want to make it again now that we got about 180 people in here. When we start talking about these people getting in on our culture, don't we always have to come back to this? We had to tell them that they couldn't get in on reparations, that it ain't about flat blackness, that is lineage based. We had to tell them they can't get in on our tangibles. We had to tell them that. We got to tell them they can't get in on Juneteenth. But you notice how we never have to give them a lecture about an anti-black hate crime protection because they don't fight for that. They don't fight for none of that. The only things that they ever want in on are things that they can benefit from. You don't never have no conversations with no tether about no anti-black hate crime protection. We don't never have that conversation because that doesn't concern them. And if somebody is never black until they want your reparations money, that is a tether. That is a tether. You can sit back and look at all of the brothers and sisters who have been unjustly harmed. A lot of those brothers and sisters who have been unjustly harmed are from the diaspora, and the immigrants from the diaspora still don't say nothing. How is it that foundational black Americans are always the people with the dustpan, the mop, and the broom having to clean up everybody else's mess? We already got to clean up the mess that goes on right here in America, the country that we built. But then all these transplants who come in, we got to clean up their mess. Why are we fighting for all of these different immigrant groups? And I'm talking about the immigrants who are harmed by race soldiers. How are we fighting for them more than their fellow immigrants? That's a problem. And that's why we say things like someone is a fleedman, a fleer, or a tether. We can't sit here all day long and try to get our foundational black American business in order, and we got to keep stopping the goddamn car because these people don't want to put in no work. Tell me, what work has any of these people ever done to assist foundational black Americans? And I'll spot you the whole planet Earth. I'm not even talking about a county, a state, or region. I'll give you the whole planet. Name me one thing that has been significant that anybody has ever done for foundational black Americans that we haven't done by our goddamn self. So when we do things, and the answer to that is nobody done shit. So the answer to that is we continue to do what we've always done, stay in our own lane and make our own things happen because nobody's here to help us and we don't want help. There's two types of people. There's the people who want help and they want everybody else to come on in and lift them up. And then there's people like us who don't give a damn. What we've come to realize is that when they try to give us help, that shit actually ends up working against us. I believe that most folks in this space, we liked it better when Juneteenth was just something that we were for. When it was just black Americans and we celebrated it. Soon as Joe Biden's 997-year-old ass wrote that into law, it became a bigger problem. And once it became a bigger problem, you know the dilute is coming in. Dr. Claude Anderson always speaks about how they'll try to dilute our culture because they can't steal it from us. And how do you dilute it? You make it a national law. It's better when we keep things in-house. I would be much better served if Juneteenth, Martin Luther King Day, Malcolm X Day, Black History Month, if that was just something that we were celebrating. Because once you open that door and everybody comes on in, they're not coming in to help us or assist us. They're coming here to mooch and leech off of us. Right back to you, Eastside.
A couple points to make to that. Number one, my opinion, I think we all should adopt that Reconstruction mentality that we had during that period, because that's when we really started making businesses and stuff for ourselves. You know, also as far as the celebration of our lineage and our holidays, you know, we was taught by the new black media concerning that we should be able to pick our own holidays. That's why I give a shout out to our sister for, you know, the appreciation month, you know, April. You know, we must be self-determined, you know, be determined, you know, damn it. Oh man, all over the place, you know, Well, we must be able to decide this for ourselves, you know, because every time we allow somebody else to define us, this is where it goes to, and I'll land there.
Every single time. Zilla, Afro, anybody want to chime in? Dewan, anybody can chime in on this, but y'all know my position clearly is this FBA on top of the hill, and we ain't even looking down. It's like when you in traffic. When you in traffic and you the front, you ain't looking at who's behind you. And at the end of the day, looking back at who's behind you, all that does is do what? It slows down the vehicle. We ain't got time to slow down. We have too much momentum right now. That's why I want to have this conversation. And if anybody else makes the space, I want to jump in it. I want to continuously have these dialogues with my brothers and sisters so we can actually change it, because we only got one shot at this right here. We got one shot. If anybody thinks that we're going to screw up reparations and we're going to get a part 2, it ain't happening. Name me a part 2 that's ever happened that actually works. Name me one. There ain't none. It's all about us today in this generation, this time, in this era, the Black grassroots, which is all of us. As I always say on the Black Alpha Network, certified 100, and that's all it takes. It don't take every last Black person, every person on the planet Earth. It don't take POCs and minorities. It don't take friends or allies. All it takes is us on code, and we've always won at a numerical disadvantage. And that's one of the sweet things about us, is that we've gotten so much done at numerical disadvantages. So that's why they want to keep us behind, because they know once we match them, we've already surpassed them, and it don't take much. So we got to get this right. And if getting it right means you hurt some tethers' feelings, or some people of colors, or some Black and brown coalition, if they get their feelings hurt in the process, as I always say on the Black Alpha Network, they're going to be some hurt feeling having motherfuckers then. Zilla, right to you, brother.
Yeah, brother. I just want to, just thinking about what you just said, just think about me. And like when we talk in our conversations, of course, offline, what are we always talking about? We're talking about the future. We're talking about what things are looking like. We don't spend a whole lot of time dwelling on the past. We really talking, coming to minds and trying to work things out for right now and the future. So I see right there that just where people's minds are right now, we're scary to the powers that be, man. We are extremely terrifying to them folks because we're free thinkers and we're awake. We are looking for the benefits of our own. If there has been another group outside of Nat Turner's group and Denmark Vesey and all some of these other people that chose to get, and all the unknown slave revolts that we ain't heard of, some people believe in reincarnation, brother. And I believe that these people that we are up against definitely believe in reincarnation. So what could possibly be coming to the earth at one given time? Could you not have the spirit of a Nat Turner? Could you not have a spirit of a Harriet Tubman? And then we're coming together with this new technology. You got Nat Turners and the Harriet Tubmans, Huey P. Newtons, and Fred Hamptons coming together, confabbing on a daily basis about empowerment. This is terrifying to this system, because you know what I say, just like Jermaine Jackson and all the others say, don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet, because easy come and easy go. Don't take it personal. That's right. Because good things come to an end, and this has been their heaven. And it's about to be something else. Can you dig it, my brother?
Oh, you already know what time I'm on, brother. All day. You handle everything with pride and aggression, and that's what gets things done. I want to talk about this well, and this is going to be a little controversial, but it's all good because controversy means you speaking the real. One of the things that we got to be very cautious of, fam, is the we not all's bad. Okay, we get a lot of that. You hear the spaces, you hear people call in and they say, y'all know that not all people in the diaspora is bad. We got y'all backs, FBA. Let me say this, if you're listening, okay? We do not need someone to tell us that they's not all bad. We got the dominant society been telling us that for 400, 500 years. We know that type of game. If you are somebody who is a non-FBA, let your actions speak for yourself. You don't have to come and tell me that you're not all bad. You don't have to remind me that we got some friends out there. We got allies out there. Your actions will show, and we are intelligent brothers and sisters, and we will know what type of time you on based on how you act. You don't have to come to us and tell us that we got it, everything's cool, we're really an ally, because 9 times out of 10, if somebody's got to tell you that, they're probably trying to make a cover. They try, they're trying to cover up for something that they know they're doing wrong any damn way. So the problem is this. We do not export our coons outside of America. Our coons get G-checks so serious right here that they keep that shit right here. These other people, they will never check their coons, so they coons hop on planes and they come here. Why we got to handle coons from the diaspora, family? We got enough coons right here, homegrown coons. We got enough of them. Why I got to check a coon from Haiti? That's because somebody in Haiti didn't check him when he was there. Why I got to check a coon from Nigeria? That's because somebody in Nigeria didn't check him when he was there. So they don't need to call Foundation Black Americans and explain to us on how we's not all's bad. You need to take that same energy and effort and start handling your off code. We handle our off code. All right. I ain't had nobody call in from Zimbabwe and tell me that Clyburn was over there causing a ruckus. I ain't never seen that happen. All right. I ain't seen Jesse Lee Peterson somewhere in goddamn Port-au-Prince, Haiti, causing a ruckus. That don't happen. But what do you see? You see all of them people, they come here and they cause a ruckus in America. So it's not foundational Black Americans' job to clean up the mess from everybody else. If they were on code and they was handling their business, and I'm not talking about one situation, two situation, three situation. I don't do onesies and twosies, all right? I'm talking about the collective. Right here in America, they don't get off on us. Right now, there can't be no coon can come in our space. They can't violate our space. If anybody thinks Roland Martin would ask the microphone and he come up here and he G-check all 180 of us in here, y'all know that's a damn lie. Y'all know that's a damn... Roland Martin couldn't come in this space and check one person. He couldn't check that MOG you're putting up right now, B-Zilla. It wouldn't work. We handle everybody, and our coons know better. They know not to come over here. So therefore, when we don't tolerate that behavior from somebody in the diaspora, it's not that we's picking on yous. It's not because you's an African booty scratcher, we being mean. It ain't none of that. What it is that foundational Black Americans, we got a zero tolerance policy for bullshit. Because if we ever had a 1% or a 2% policy, we wouldn't be here right now. We got no room for slippage. So we got to check somebody's coons from another area. They're going to catch that work. Because guess what? We check our coons right here as well. But anybody who's an ally and who really represents us from the diaspora, then you need to make sure that your actions speak for yourself. We don't need any of that other talk at all. Let's continue to keep it in-house. Let's continue to represent. And if somebody's off code who's not from America, we're going to G-check their ass the same way we would check somebody who was from America. Now, with that said, our sister JL's in here. Salute to you, sisters. All on you.
Thanks, y'all. I just wanted to share really quick that last Juneteenth, and I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but people were posting their cash apps, and it was literally not one single Black American. They were all Jamaican, African. So I just tell everybody in the room, please, let's regulate that. You know, like we like to regulate each other for the pettiest stuff. Like I think everybody in this room, like be very aware of that, because they're all aware that they were not supposed to be doing that. They got a lot of heat about that on the timeline, like literally every single one. There was not one Black American that was posting their cash apps. So this goes, this is just another example of how when it's their culture, they know where to draw that line with us. They know, oh, you can't participate in Carnival. You can't participate in this. But then when it's our culture, our celebrations, they participate in it and they actually overpower us. Not one single Black American got money last Juneteenth. So if you want to be petty, I feel like all Black Americans should post their cash app and see how many people actually donate to you, and definitely regulate when you see that happening and they're not Black Americans. So I just wanted to share that. I'm driving right now, so I'm going to go ahead and drop down. And then last thing I want to say, if at this point, any other culture that is not asking us at this point, what can we do to help y'all's cause, is disrespectful, y'all. It's 2023. It's June 13th at 8:08 Eastern Standard Time. Like we have been doing, you get what I'm saying? Like anything less than lead me to show me the way is disrespect. So don't let people gaslight you, y'all. These people know what they're doing. They know it's not their culture and they are trying to get money off of it. So please, let's all regulate that. Let's come together as a Black American society in Juneteenth. What is it, Monday? Please regulate that, because they're going to do it again. They know better and they're going to do it again.
Hey.
Yeah, they're real disrespectful when it comes to Juneteenth. And if anything, they should just be asking us what they can do. Just like when I was trying to talk to this woman, they should be asking us how to celebrate Juneteenth instead of telling us what they think it is. So we are constantly called, overly aggressive and things like that. But they have the nerve to come in here and take our holiday and put up cash apps. I forgot all about that they were putting up cash apps. I have never seen a foundational Black American put up a Cash App and say, give me money for Juneteenth. And so, we're being called aggressive. I've been looking on the timeline. There's some comments being made about us for delineating, but there's a reason why we do it.
Hey,
and to piggyback off of that, I'm gonna say not only when it comes to Juneteenth, when it comes to reparations in general and everything we're owed, because you got people out here sitting up there. There was this one, and it was like a joke or a TikTok or something like that, or it was a trend where black people, there was quote unquote black people, and they were all foreigners. They were all foreigners. And they were sitting up there asking just random white people at Walmart and stuff for money, saying it's reparations, and they do these joking reparations trend all the time, and this is what happens. And circling back to what I was saying, this is what happens when you don't put a boundary on the people coming in your house. When you let people come in your house with their muddy shoes and throwing their shit around, this is what happens. Now they sitting up there, now they getting paid they are literally getting paid off of the struggle of our ancestors. This is literally what's happening.
Yo, I'm so glad you said that, Sister JL. I forgot all about that. What kind of low budget, bottom feeder stuff is that for somebody to do? That is some of the most slime bag, spineless, shameless stuff. I guess when you deal with shameless people, you get shameless things. I forgot all about that. These folks don't care. They trying to grift off us. I seen a brother in the comments, and he said where he's at. I forgot where you at, brother, but he said all of the Juneteenth things are RBG. There's not one FBA thing. These people know better. They know what time it is. They playing dumb with us. They playing dumb with us. They trying to con us right in the open, right in clean air. That's what they trying to do. They know that this is a foundational Black American culture, celebration, holiday, and they're just trying to remix it right in front of our eyes, no matter what we tell them. And the craziest thing is when you putting up your Cash App and you are openly doing that, and you know this has nothing to do with you, then you are basically spitting in the face of not just us, but our ancestors. And what people are going to have to learn is that we are proud people who take our lineage very, very serious. Because if we go over there and we start saying some crazy things about their lineage, you understand, these people are very, very serious about their stuff. But when they come over here, they don't want us to be so serious about ours. And that's the type of false energy that we got to displace. And as you said, we got to regulate that. We got to gatekeep that. We got to G-check that. Because if that doesn't stop, next thing you know, they're going to be sitting on our reparations panels. And if you notice, their arguments about Juneteenth are very similar to their arguments about reparations. They come over here and they're African as hell and they want to sit in on our Juneteenth celebrations, and then they'll be African as hell trying to sit in on our reparations panels. But with that said, Sister FBA Empress, it's all on you. Unless you want to say something first, Dewan, then we can spin it back.
Hey, real quick. We have to understand, you got to communicate to people on their level. We're not dealing with the people that has respect. These are people who fuck over their own people back in their home country. We're not ever going to get them with a moral argument. They understand. They know it's disrespectful. But we're dealing with groups of people who have no self-respect. They can't find two fucks to give. So that's why when it comes to us being free enough and open enough to express ourselves and to be upfront and be blunt and have, like I said before, have a good time talking shit while you do it. Man, talking shit is fun. Y'all need to buy it. I mean, you're not dealing with respectful people. So we can't have any fucks in our heart to give. Only fucks we have to give is to each other, to our children, to our lineage, to our ancestors, and the people who got us here. That's where all our fucks to give come from. When it comes to these other people, they know that they're being disrespectful. But hey, when you got people who don't respect themselves, they're not going to understand the language of respect. So, there's no moral no need to just it's not a law that you have to respect people who don't respect you. Fuck these people.
Go ahead, Sister FBA Empress.
Thank you, sir. Peace, Black Alpha, peace, Afro, peace to the room. I just wanted to say, first of all, JL, I forgot all about that. I'm glad you woke that up because I forgot all about that. It's so disrespectful. I actually literally just hosted a space about the same exact thing a few hours ago, but I think we all should be hosting these spaces and waking this up, right? So if it's okay with y'all, I did want to post in the Jumbotron. It was like literally for the past 8 days, I've been working with Miss Giselle and all of you all who have been posting these terrible discrepancies of our commemoration day, right? It's not necessarily a celebration. It's a commemoration day. And I've been making phone calls. I've been sending emails. I've been leaving comments. And there was one organization, I can't even remember which one of these. I have the tweet. I could post it in a Jumbotron if y'all allow me to. Where after us just being on them, like, this ain't the right colors. What y'all doing? They changed it. And they were like, thank you for your feedback. And I say all that to say this, right? So in the space that I just had, the title was Syndrome. No, we are the main character. We really, literally are the main character. We talked about the hip hop thing. We talked about this whole interview with these immigrants, wherever they from, how they talking like us, looking like us, while trying to disparage us in the same breath. You know what I mean? These people know that they're being disrespectful. But I just think that with Juneteenth, we have this opportune moment to like tell these people exactly what we want. We will shut them out if they don't do what we say, and we will only embrace them if they do what we tell them to do. This is about us. This is an American holiday about what happened in American history to us and only us. It ain't got nothing to do with the diaspora. And if they respect us in any way, they will acquiesce and celebrate with us. I saw the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I was literally looking for RGB flags. I didn't see not one. And we're respectful of these people on our land. The least they can do is be respectful to us for our day. This one day, my God, we could be Pan-Africanism the day after and the day before, but for this one day, we got to put our foot down, family. I think you all have been doing an amazing job with getting people to change their stuff, change their flags, change their posters, change their colors. We just got to keep at it. That was all I wanted to say. Thank y'all so much for letting me speak.
Sister, before I let you go, first off, that's a great space and I'm about to share it. But I got one thing to ask you. How in the world did I not see you in Dallas at the expo?
I don't know. It was so much going on, right? It was so busy. It was a lot. I'm sorry. You know.
All right, now.
Afro saw me.
Afro saw everybody. Afro was all over the place.
He was all over the place. But it was an amazing event, and I appreciate being with y'all.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I seen JL, I seen Dewan, I seen Sage and Afro, Tori, and I did see you, sister. I was just FBA impressed. I was like, how in the world? I took like 30 pictures. But that's all right. I'm going to have to catch you at the next one, sister.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Always. Nikki, it's all on you, family.
I'd like to piggyback off of what FBA Empress said. Okay, so there has been talk, and I am concerned about code being changed because there's been talk, because there's been some people, and yes, the conversation is kind of tilting to the left, but it's got what she's saying is how we can just be on code this one day when it comes to Juneteenth, and then tomorrow we do whatever. I found that to just not work with some of these people. I feel like they have forced us into delineation. But I've been seeing some people complain on a timeline, and I don't like offending my sisters and brothers who may not be with the movement, but they may be FBA or they just may not be FBA. I don't like offending people, but I don't like people who are FBA who are taking delineation out of context and being aggressive with it when it's not necessary. I'm talking about the woman who was shot in her door. That's caused great conversation on a timeline. And it's caused a lot of people to start hinting at, oh, well, maybe we just need to quit delineating because all of them are our brothers and sisters. There's a reason why we are delineating. One is because of reparations, and two, our culture. There's an issue where we are in great danger of losing our culture, and they take everything from us and they're disrespectful with it. So we must continue to push delineation, but I'm feeling, this is my opinion, that we need to check people when they act in a way that could make us look a certain way. And that's all I want to say. I want people to just think about what I'm saying and put it together, because I'm seeing too much on the timeline, and I'm seeing people talk as if they're remaking the code. And these are people within the Black grassroots circle saying these things. So we don't want to start walking backwards with the reparation movement and with our culture. So we got to do something so that we're all on the same page. It's about being on code in our land.
Big facts, family. I think we had a conversation before when we were talking about the code one time, and we were saying how one of the best ways to enforce the code is we got to quit letting people violate the code and then come back on in. Because there be a lot of times Black folks let somebody do something that's way off code, and then when they come back in, they be like, well, you know, I know he did this, and this, and that over there, but he can come back in. Basically, you don't have a code if you allow that to happen. When you allow somebody to violate, throw the community under the bus, and then they do one good thing that's appealing, we got to get over the one good thing that's appealing. Anybody can do something that's appealing to you. But if they consistently do off-coded behavior, then they are an off-coded person. So when we allow somebody to do something wrong and then we allow them to come back in the house, you got to be careful. Somebody told me a long time ago, they said, be careful if you make exceptions to your team, because you're going to look up and then your whole team is going to be made of exceptions. So you got to make sure everything is airtight, to your point, Nikki, and to your point, Dewan. Kerman, I see you in here, brother. Go ahead, Kerman. You can unmute yourself, fam.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm sorry about that.
You good, fam?
Speaking on when everyone in the room tonight, but I wanted to follow up on a couple of points. I think you made one earlier. I think what's the most irritating thing to me is that we're not doing anything that they're not doing or have been doing. But all of a sudden, since we start doing it, everyone, you're xenophobic or you have issues, you know, you don't like us. But we're not doing anything that you guys haven't been doing for years. It's one of those things where I think it's now that we're bumping our self-esteem up. You're not able to come here and say, well, I'm from this land, I'm from that land, I'm a little bit better than you are. And I think B. Zila said earlier about, you know, social media and everything. We're able to see things now. You can't come from another country and act like everything all good, everybody living in a lap of luxury and things of that nature. We're able to see that some of the places you come from are 10 times worse than anywhere here in America. You know, it's not making any sense. And I think the sister mentioned Puerto Rican Day. I hate to say it. I watched Seinfeld back in the day. There was an episode of Seinfeld where they disrespected the Puerto Rican flag. They raised so much hell, they don't even show it in reruns anymore. So I'm going to land my plane with that. But it's just one of those things that is so frustrating that now that it's being done to you, what you've been doing, because like you said, we could not. There is no way in heck we could go to one of their countries and be so disrespectful. To me, in my opinion, their tethers us getting as worse as the suspected white supremacists here in America. They're almost as dangerous or even more dangerous because they look like us and they're doing what they're doing. So I'll land my plan there.
Brother, before we get on, before we do that, get to the hands, I will tell you one thing. Not only do they have enough, they don't even try. They don't even imagine. We were just talking about the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Imagine with the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Nigerians came up and pulled out their Nigerian flag. We would see on the news, it would be a damn war. It would be an ethnic war in New York City if Nigerians said, remember a couple years ago, they said, hey, I don't care about Juneteenth. I'm waving my Haitian flag on Juneteenth. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was a viral post or whatever of Caribbean saying, I'm waving my flag on Juneteenth. Oh, okay. Now, if on 1804, the anniversary, the Haitian Day thing, if Nigerians came out there and they say, well, this is about Nigeria too, it would not just be a disagreement. It would be a literal fight where people were physically fighting each other. That's how serious they take it.
Man, can y'all imagine, brother? That's a good point. Can y'all imagine if that happened? Nobody would tolerate it. And I always tell people we got the in-laws. There's the in-laws, and I don't mean the relatives. And it's a whole different set of laws that they apply to us. I was just looking, what was that? You mentioned it earlier, Afro, about the girl saying how we don't have culture. Wasn't you, Afro? You said that, right?
Yeah, with the podcast, the Haitian girl.
Yeah, there was literally another podcast just recently, and I think this girl's from Africa. And Kid Gravity, him and Torian broke it down on the show the other day, actually. And this woman literally sat there and said that the diaspora war is us hating on them. That's what she said. She said it's us hating on them. And then she basically was on some high and mighty Billy Badass stuff and was saying how they don't really pay us attention and all that. These people are delusional. And as you were saying, Kermit, and we said it earlier, is that when somebody wants to be a supremacist, a wannabe supremacist, or as I say, a Crayola supremacist or a mascot or a minion, they got to feel, the need to go the extra mile. And the extra mile is them trying to come down on foundational Black Americans. So we have to be very aware of these people and how they operate. They're not coming over here with love. Most of them, 99.9% of them is coming over here with either trying to stay distant from us, or they're coming over here trying to have some type of hatred or, harm us in some shape, form, or fashion. And we have to be aware of that. And that's what I think this generation has done. We've made a lot of misnomers clear. And that thing where we used to believe everybody liked us, thank goodness that us in the Black grassroots, all of us, everybody in here right now, we've actually changed that notion to where the next generation, they're not going to grow up blind and think that everybody's their friend and then walk into a trap. They're going to know what we teach them, and that's foundational Black Americans first, and then you operate outside of that. And that's the best way to do it. Go ahead, Brother Zilla.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hopefully y'all can hear me good. Now I went from transit in the car, so now I'm in the car. But nonetheless, one of the things, like we have, going back to what Nikki said about the people who come out here and kind of put this aggressive thing on what reparations is. We've seen the cats out there in was that Virginia or Maryland? Was that 757? The Black Lives Matter group, they was out there with guns trying to we out here for our reparations. You gonna give us what? And they talking all this crazy talk. You're seeing stuff like that, and then not to throw anybody under the bus, but just to what Nikki alluded to, we understand that certain groups and spaces on this app have been known to be associated with the message of foundational Black Americans, while they are actually simultaneously delineating from foundational Black Americans. So you would have to ask the question, why is it important to keep tying this group that has so blatantly said they were anti-FBA would now all of a sudden say, okay, well, yeah, the groups that are attached to this movement, they get in these spaces and they start talking violent and crazy. And I always look at situations like that as they were put there purposely to do so. Me, Brother Black Alpha, we held a space. Afro was on the space. We held a space with all of these so-called beefing groups to come together to see if we were going to really be about this movement or not. And we had a lot of positive forward mobility conversation. As soon as that space ended, the BS began again. So what I look at is now those individuals that just will be in a positive space to move forward, but refuse to go forward just to keep beef going. I look at those people as agents of chaos, because at the end of the day, they were in a position of conversation and was refusing to put their, differences aside. Here's the problem. They left the space saying that the differences were able to be put away. Then they went right back at going to war against the agenda and the code. These are people who blatantly got on Jason Black's Twitter space and then started questioning him about a coined phrase that he coined. This is the type of thing that we actually have to be very vigilant about, and making sure, not to mention, they made numerous attempts at going at our brother Afro Elite for whatever reason. I've heard a bunch of outlandish lies. I wasn't even at the expo, and I know better than some of the lies I've heard. So it doesn't even make sense that the lies told against the FBA expo were even done. But it just speaks to and I'm sorry, it speaks to a certain group of people that, here's my issue. And when I start looking at things a little skeptical, my red flags go up. Why is the mainstream media giving this one particular group with 0 stars, 0 recognizable personalities? They have no skin in the game, yet and still they're the first people that are mentioned when it comes to reparations. We've often said it's like an octopus. Black empowerment has many arms. But I'm just saying that to say we do verbally, and we have to fervently at this point separate that particular group and entity and make sure, because I say it all the time, they are a separate group. They have said themselves they are a separate identity. They identify as indigenous. We are foundational Black Americans. So I guess in any time that you're in these conversations, maybe just make an attempt to make sure you make that correction in conversation so people don't engage you in a lie. Because that's what they do. They take all the recklessness from the goof troop and then they put it all on all of you and say, this is what you represent. That ain't cool. And that has been my biggest problem with that particular group of individuals, because all of us, they're like a albatross around our neck, because we're trying to go forward. We can work out our own little personal differences. That shit happens. But that right there, to where reparations is always about xenophobia? No. And I hate to say it again. I keep saying this, but if you have to ask the question, has delineation went too far? That just tells you that you never put the work in to even understand what our work was about. This ain't clout. This is about empowerment, reparations, and justice. Not about me. So we do things because we doing them right here. Again, shout out to my brother Black Alpha. Go to YouTube, go follow and subscribe this brother. Go to Afro Elite, go to his channel, follow and subscribe that brother. Go to my brother Dwan B. Go to YouTube, follow, subscribe that brother. My brother Sage, go buy all of his music. And of course, you can go follow me as well on YouTube too. But with that being said, support the voices that support you. Support these brothers. Support these sisters, because these people are here for you. So I just can't stress that enough. Them other individuals, you see who's about themselves. Make sure we make that separation and keep that separation steady in further conversation going forward, because foundational Black American excellence should not be ever confused with Twitter space troll BS. And that's kind of what's been happening. So it's a tedious job, but we gotta do it. So I know that I don't want to even address. We have to do it, family, because they are a separate thing and been a problem, and have long been a problem. Caught lightning in a bottle with Tariq in a space one time, and has moved that into nonstop, senseless beef. So with that being said, again, family, let's protect our ideas, let's protect our institution, and let's protect this movement. And with that being said, I land my plane.
Certified salute, brother, all day. Sister Nikki, it's all on you.
Thank you so much. I'm a little bit different too. I'm thinking about what he just said, and I'm not trying to offend it's not about us offending people, but I'm not trying to stir up things with my immigrant brothers and sisters who are on code. I'm not trying to stir up things with the Nation of Islam, and I know that I have friendships with people of them, but I'm just trying to yes, I did just bring up people, because it's like the elephant in the room. There's been tension. And I personally hurt when I see that happening. And I feel like there are certain people who come around and they make all of us look aggressive. But at the same time, no one ever said that delineation was going to be pretty. I feel like we kind of have to force people to get on the same page because so many people are straddling the fence. And with the straddling of the fence, it's causing people to come in and make claim to what belongs to us. So I would love to see us have more conversations about ways for us to continue delineating, but in ways that we aren't made to look like some type of hate group. And that's all I'll say right now. But it really hurts me to see this happening the way that it's been happening, because it doesn't have to go this way. And I didn't think that it would get so out of hand the way it has. But hopefully we could come up with ways to continue to do what we're doing that are more effective.
Appreciate that, sister. One thing about Sister Nikki, she always gonna speak from the heart. So salute, certified salute to you, my sister. Yes. Brother Smooth, it's on you. I see you.
What's up, Black Alpha, Afro Elite, Nikki, Segs. What's up, family? But I feel you, Nikki, because I think it's crazy about the double standard they try to do. You know, we fought to get people over here, and we was called names. Now, when a certain name is made up, now it's like we xenophobic and stuff, you know. So I see what it is, you know what I mean? And it just proved like a lot of people can't stand on principle, you know. If you started something, take accountability. You know, if you can't take accountability, I just see you for who you is, you know. And a man with no principles, I can't respect it. You know, so I don't care where you from. If you don't got no principle, I can't respect you. You don't got the code you stand by. Yeah. And if you stand by a code, you know, we don't got to worry about the haters, because you're going to get that anyway. You know, I look at all these rooms, and it's like FBA hate everywhere, whether it's tethers or just certain people trying to pin Tariq as a leader, and just use the same talking points. You know what I mean? Just jealousy, no real reason to be mad. But I look at it like this: if it's brothers out there got to ask for the code in, we ain't in the same fight. If you don't know what the code is, the code been out for years. You know, the code been out since my ancestors was getting slaughtered. You know what I mean? So if you don't understand the code, I don't understand you. You know, I'm gonna look at you like you're a coon or a destruction, or you work with the feds. You know, I was in Afro Elite room the other day. I didn't want to get involved in a beef. You know what I mean? I don't do the internet stuff. I don't want to be involved. And I had a person get mad at me. There was a cop. So, man, I can't take a lot of these cats serious. They go to these expos, right, just to hate and say it's a grifter. So why you go to the expo, you know? But we got to just understand that we gonna have the haters going against us. But as long as we standing on principle and standing on code, it won't affect us. And 5 or 6 years later, you won't even see these haters. They're gonna have to find a new career, you know. And some of them won't be around. But that's it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Eastside, it's all on you, fam.
Hey, I wanted to address something that our brother Beatzilla was talking about as far as them marching with guns, talking about reparations. You see, that was the Virginia chapter of the New Black Panther Party, you know, and some of our people that, you know, is involved in that's, you know, real heavy. Just so we clear, they got a good G checking about that, because they did give us a bad look on that. And to be honest, that's not how we are to operate as a people that's, you know, progressive for change and looking to make a real difference. See, when we move a certain way, we do it in pursuit of justice, you know, as we supposed to, but we don't look to make ourselves out to be bullies or no type of, you know, hate mongers or anything like that. You know, like our brothers just said, we got to stand on principle, and I'll land there.
All day. You know, we used to this, man. This what ends up happening in the movement. Anytime in your regular life, anytime you somebody who is a thorough, established brother, sister, king, queen, goddess, god, a businessman and a businesswoman, there's always going to be somebody trying to throw dirt on you, but you can't throw dirt on foundational Black Americans. We too clean. Dewan and Afro, I think you guys was in the space. Zilla, you were. A guy called in one time asking us, you know, what we should do to get reparations. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And he was clearly on some op stuff. And, you know, what we did is what my brother Dewan B always say, man, we roasted him and we had fun. We had fun. He didn't get under our skin and we didn't get upset about it. We roasted him, clowns. He probably went home and cried, you know, at his mama house. He's probably about 47 years old, living in the basement or the attic. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that he probably had some ramen noodles. But it's all good. You know, we continue to chill out and stay FBA. So you know, we established brothers and sisters. We're not gun toters. We're businessmen and women. We're not about violence. We've done everything in a just fashion, and that's why they hate us, because we're winning and we're playing fair. You know, these other people play way dirty. I always say that Roe versus Wade situation, that was far more violent than anything that foundational Black Americans have put on. And if you guys were in the beginning of the space, I said they're always trying to put a jacket on us. But I say foundational Black Americans, man, we wear an extra large. We don't wear an extra medium. So they could take that medium ass jacket, they could take it back to Walmart or Great Value, or wherever the hell they bought it from, you know, the swap meet, and they can keep it there. But we're going to continue to stay clean. We're going to stay fresh. And all the outliners and the people who are just dusty and dirty and filthy and raggedy, and they got nothing to do with hate, they just going to continue to hate. We call each other kings and queens, right? But y'all know what come along with that. Being the king and the queen, that means heavy is the head to wear the crown. And we wear the crown. And they wouldn't be talking about you if you wasn't shining. If this was a few years ago, when I was out saying the Democrats and everybody was running things, they would be getting all the energy. The reason why people talk about foundational Black Americans is because foundational Black Americans are getting things done. And that's the best part about it. And we're getting it done as a community. We are doing everything that they just wish that we would have never done. But we're doing it. And that's pissing them off. And we're doing it with style. Because, you know, I like to believe we some good looking people. And, you know, we do everything with some good fashion. And that's what pisses them off. Brother Afro, man, you can go ahead and put your closing on it. And then we'll bring it on home, brother.
I want to say this was a great space. It was definitely needed. This was a much needed space. Shout out to everybody who came. Shout out to our good host, Black Alpha. You guys, make sure you guys go over to Black Alpha's channel and go support him. Because if you guys think that this space was something, if you guys think that we was talking shit in this space, you guys won't believe what he has in his next space coming up. I was actually talking to him recently, and he was telling me about how raw and uncut this YouTube broadcast that he's about to put out in a couple minutes is going to be. So if y'all enjoy, and clearly y'all have enjoyed this space because y'all been in here for hours. Okay. And there's been 200 people up in here. So clearly y'all enjoyed this. So if y'all enjoyed this, y'all going to love the next one. Okay. So definitely make sure you guys swing over to that. And to sum everything up, yeah, this is about, this isn't about hate. This isn't about not wanting anybody else to, you know, to suffer. This is about loving ourselves. This is about us knowing what we are owed, us knowing our culture, us knowing we need to separate for the respect and love for ourselves, us putting a barrier and a standard for ourselves, okay? And us saying that we are done being treated differently than everybody else. We are done being the least respected in the room and doing the most work. We're done with all of that. All right. So this was what the whole space is about and what the whole theme of the Juneteenth issue is about. So I appreciate every brother and sister who came up here and who had something to say. And you guys definitely make sure you guys swing over on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't, what you're doing, subscribe and check out his broadcast.
Peace and love. Y'all do the same for all my brothers and all my sisters right here, man. I'll check y'all all out. Everybody stay good, stay safe, stay vigilant. And as I always say, we are one tonight. Let us be one in the future. Power to all of our people. Peace and love.